It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. Valhalla, we are coming. On we sweep with threshing ore. Our only goal will be the Western Shore. This is the Led Zeppelin of morning rock radio, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. We are ready to absolutely dominate. But before we do that, I just got to organize my workspace. Hang on.
All right.
Hang on just a minute. Hang on just a minute.
Get your feng shui down.
I come in every morning, and it's like a little thing with me. And I have my laptop. I set it there. I plug it in, and then I move the little keyboard that's attached to the computer in the studio to a specific place. I put some headphones there. I move everything just so. I put my coffee way over to the side so there's no spills on the board.
Do you have Adderall for this or something?
I don't. This is my Adderall. Just getting a tidy, neat workspace before I then become a Norse god going to take over the Western lands. I put in my little eye drops, or I take a Advil, whatever I need like that. It's just that's me. I'm
sure.
By the way, most important part, I empty my pockets. I do not have anything in my pockets when we do this show. Did you know that about me?
Huh. No.
Yeah.
No, and I've really looked. I've been staring at your pockets for over a year now.
I empty the pockets before and that just goes back to playing gigs. If I sit down at a drum kit and there's a penny in my pocket, I'm aware of it somewhere in the first song. And I'm like, I got to get that out of there as soon as the song ends. And so it's just a thing I've just taught myself, which is clear the pockets, organize the workspace, get to work. Because if you think that I'm bouncing around like a ping pong ball, generally speaking, see me in a disorganized workspace, then there's no rhyme or reason. Then I can't continue it. I cannot literally complete a straight sentence in linear thought.
Yeah,
that's me.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the glory that is you. I mean, you are Steve Gorman, idiosyncrasies and all. I was just trying to think, if I had any, I don't think so. Coffee. Mine's just practical. I need a chemical reaction to get the day started. Otherwise, things can be different. I'm wearing 2 different shoes today.
Oh, nice. I go with different socks regularly, and not because I think it's cool. It's just because they're all the same size. They're one style of sock generally, and so I just go by how they feel, and they feel the same, so I don't really care what they look like, and I don't ever see them.
Yeah, no, one of the things that drives me crazy about my socks is I've switched over to a new sock. I don't want to name brand here, but there's a left and a right.
Yeah, sure.
It's a little compression action right there, you know. So that does screw up my morning because if you get 2 lefts, it just doesn't work. What? But I buy a lot of the same tennis shoes. I'm fond of a particular tennis shoe, and I'll be like, oh, it's on sale in a different color. I'm like a woman with a purse or something like that, if I could be sexist for just a microsecond. And so sometimes I grab the wrong tennis shoes, but now socks, I don't know. But not as organized in my workspace, certainly. I know Tony's like that as well. He has you walk into his studio, it's like walking into Madame Tussauds.
We all know what you mean.
Yeah,
the Wax Museum. We all have things we have to do to get right in the head before we turn on the microphones. Candace, normally on Fridays, enters the building in a handstand. She walks in on her hands. Only on Fridays.
It's impressive.
She says the blood flow to the brain. What is that all about? You learned that one in Italy?
Blood flow to the
butt flow? Yeah. I just thought because she has bad feet, she prefers to walk in her hands. A bit more graceful on her hands, too, I think.
Strengthen my wrists.
Wow. No, Candace, what do you do? Come in. You have your little morning ritual before the show starts. You organize. You get your emails you're sending to us, and you look at the board. You got the songs.
Just doing my job, Steve.
Just doing your job.
We can't all be heroes.
Getting a little accusatory now, isn't it? Candace is starting to sweat to get that light out of her face.
We can't all be heroes. Not all heroes wear capes, but some of them do wear scarves, a la Stevie Nicks. And I gotta say,
that was nice, wasn't it, Gypsy?
Yeah, looking pretty good today, Candace. That's all I'm saying. Very stylish over there. From the microphone to the stage with Candace Wheeler.
What I love is people are actually picturing Candace in these flowing gowns and wispy, Welsh witch sort of thing going on. That's the whole Stevie Nicks vibe going on.
I count 7, 8, 9, 11 candles in Candace's studio right now. 11 giant candles. 1 lava lamp. That's great. You're doing great over there.
A lava lamp.
Man, I enjoy. I'm by the way, put a lava lamp in here, and I'll just stare at that thing for an hour.
I did, yeah,
literally,
right.
It is. You don't need weed if there's a lava lamp. I'll just stare at that thing, and it lulls me right to sleep.
Now, there's something meditative about it, I think. Well, if your workspace is ready, we'll charge on here. By the way, it is Administrative Assistance Day.
Nice.
Used to be known back in the day, way back, Secretary's Day, but that took on a negative connotation because bosses, just screwed it up. So we had to come up with something more inclusive. Administrative Assistance Day today.
Okay.
Bosses, that's a cue to you to stop and get some flowers or something. Pick something up. I don't know what you do for Administrative Assistance Day these days, but we have some weird things that people have been piping in online as a result of this. Weird request made by bosses. I'm not an administrative assistant, but I'm in radio, and I've had some weird requests from bosses. We're going to get into that here at 6:17. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Wednesday, April the 24th. On August 17th, 1982, I saw the Police Ghost in the Machine tour, and when they played that song, the place went kind of crazy. And here's what I was thinking about, listening to Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic and thinking about seeing the Police in 1982. I remember the date, August 17th, because it was my 17th birthday. The English Beat opened, so that was two of my favorite bands at the time on the same bill. But here's the thing. I think I found out about the show in June. And the show was in August. So I had 2 months to look forward to it, which was, I was like so excited. That was normal back then. Like the show was announced maybe at Memorial Day for August. They announce gigs now like a year out, 10 months out, 8 months out. We give away tickets sometimes on the show for a show that's 10 months away. And that's totally normal. Man, back in the day, I didn't have to wait through the entire spring and winter for that show. It was like late May, early June. Someone said, hey, the police are coming. Cool. And you had like 8 weeks to wait around for it. I like that better.
Yeah, just like it.
Generally speaking.
Yeah, because it happened when you were young.
Well, it happened when I was young, so that makes it all better. But then I just like the idea of finding out about something, and it's right around the corner, as opposed to like, oh, my God, I got tickets. This is amazing. And now in 11 months, I will be at the show.
And what if I hate the band in 11 months?
A lot can happen in 11 months. That's very true. A lot of things can happen. Today is Administrative Assistance Day. Happy AAD to all of the administrative assistants. Now, back in the day, that was a secretary, and she knew how you liked your coffee, and she knew exactly how you liked your shoulders rubbed. But that's not how it works anymore.
Yeah. She took business trips with you and all sorts of weird things.
Well, if I don't have the Baxter file, then that means I'm going to have to go in the back room in the dark and lay down and wait to see what happens. It's I'm saying it's a different time now. Thankfully.
Yep. Don't have to sleep with your boss to keep your job. Which I've offered to do many, many times.
No, I know.
I've been fired like 8 times. Every time I'm like, I will put out for you right now on the spot.
And they just never take you up on it because we've advanced as a society. It's very true.
One time I jumped the gun and offered it first, and then they fired me as a result of that. So
there are still things that bosses ask people to do, even when it's an administrative assistant, not a secretary, even when we aren't living in a Mad Men type of world anymore. I'm sure we've all had moments at jobs, and so, big jobs or just side gigs or whatever, where you went, you're not seriously asking me to do that. I've got to think there's a few of those out there. And I mean, I'm looking at certain things people have said. My boss asked me to fill out adoption papers for her. Again, weird things. Hey, we're trying to adopt a baby. Will you finish the paperwork for me? Things like that. That's when you know that lines are being crossed. There are boundaries and there are borders, and then there are the dam buster boss who comes in and says, "There's no lines between us." That would be a weird one.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
But you could wreak havoc on that adoption policy if they're not reading what you write.
Yeah, adopt a zebra or something for them,
I was thinking it would have to be, we will only adopt a left-handed child, and that child must be interested in dentistry. You could just make anything happen.
Yeah, or adopt like 20 kids, just adopt a whole bunch of them.
Zepp, you've had a bunch of gigs in radio,
Oh,
and you've
man.
told stories over the days. But and again, the promotional things that used to be considered okay for radio, a lot of those things don't fly anymore. But you've had some weird things put on your desk, dropped in your lap over the day.
I had, when I was working at a radio station, I had a boss that did acid every day. He just did a little bit of acid every day. And he would say, you know, you really should do a little acid before you go on the air. I'm like, I've tried acid. I've done acid. I don't understand how I could possibly do my job, push a button, form a sentence, do anything on it. But he said, no, just a half a tab. He insisted, people don't want to get super stoned themselves. So one day I did some acid before my afternoon shift and played 2 songs in 4 hours. I didn't even talk a lot. I know when our administrative assistant came in to check on me because there was dead air, I was licking the microphone. I thought it was an ice cream cone. But one of the strangest requests I ever received from a boss called me in the office. He goes, hey, I've got a great gimmick, a gag for you here. I want you to change your last name, Brian Zepp, to Zeppelin. I work at a classic rock station.
Yeah.
I want you to change it to Zeppelin. I'm like, okay, and then what? Just that's it. Change it to Zeppelin. We'll have an actual judge come in on the air and legally change your name to Zeppelin. I'm like, but it's already Zepp. It's Brian Zepp. It's not, now it's Brian Zeppelin. He goes, yeah. I said, but what's the payoff for the listener? Where are we going with this?
Yeah, no
He said,
kidding.
That's just it. He goes, that's it. That's the gag. That's the whole thing. I'm like, that's it? And then it happens, and now I have to change my Social Security. I don't have the same name as my children or my parents, or I don't know what kind of chaos that would create in my life changing my last name. It sounds like a lot. And the payoff is I'm now just a buffoon named Brian Zeppelin.
You're now
on a
at
classic rock station. He was like, well, I mean, I'm just trying to come up with some ideas for you, man. I'm like, well, yeah, that one's really, really dumb.
Now I'm at the DMV. Really? In line, getting a new license?
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I already get enough grief about it. Oh, I see what you did there. Change your name to Zepp because you work for Classic Rock. I'm like, no, just got that name along the way. But, and there have been many, many others, most of which I said yes to, like going up in a hot air balloon that ended up crashing into a cornfield. All sorts of silly nonsense like that because I was definitely I'll do it.
Sure. You got to stand
guy.
out. You got to be be the guy who the answer is yes when, not no, but maybe why.
Right.
But hey, props to you for not going with the name change. That literally would have been. There are lines even Brian Zepp Lynn will not cross, and that's one of those.
I guess that's it right there.
I want to go back to the acid though. So this guy's literally dosing every day, and so his life is just a complete. He's just in a world of rainbows and kaleidoscopes.
Has 5 daughters, married, respected. You wouldn't even guess. He just had gotten to a point where I think acid was his caffeine.
Yeah,
because he was normal. No one else is normal, but he took it every day. And by the way, just shared a text with him a couple of weeks ago, still plugging away right here in the Midwest, not in Minnesota, but doing morning radio out there. I don't know if he's still taking acid every day. It didn't come up in our little text exchange. We don't stay, that close.
Yeah.
But I mean, back in this would have been the late 80s, early 90s. That's what he was doing, a lot of acid. That's what got him through the day.
Man, I see. I haven't had too many. I mean, I missed a lot of those moments. I mean, life in a band is a series of choices and dilemmas, and do I actually let this bother me? Do I throw something? Do I throw a punch? Do I threaten to throw a punch? Do I just walk away and then they make fun of me when I leave because I wouldn't have an argument over a bad note that was played? It's insane. It's like being in a closet with a bunch of wombats. That's just any band experience. But there's no boss. You know what I mean? Like we're all the band. So I'm trying to think along the way though. But there were things that were asked of us early days, like in terms of promotion. You'd be somewhere and you'd get a call. Hey, the record company wants you guys to get up at 3 a.m. and drive 6 hours and go to a miniature golf course at 9 a.m. and play an acoustic version of Jealous Again. and you're like, and then, it's such a bizarre thing. Like, this is not why I wanted to be in a band. I never in a million years imagined this. And 99% of the time, the answer was no. But we learned early on, the one thing we were asked to do, and it was stressed, you guys really got to do this. You really got to do this. On a day off on our very first tour, they flew us from Baltimore to Saratoga Springs, and we went to a conference, and it was a distributors convention. There was a company called TWA, not the airline. It was called like something. It stood for something else. Yeah. And these are like the guys who distribute records and cassettes and CDs to stores. You know, there's all these middlemen in the chain of delivery that you don't know about until you have to know about it. And so basically they asked us to go on stage in a conference room at a hotel resort, like conference lodge. And it was probably 11 a.m. It wasn't crack of dawn, but it was 11 a.m. And we walked out, and the crew had set up our gear, and we walked out, and they said, "Now give it a real show." And they're looking at us like, "Just pretend it's midnight and you're in a rock club." And we're like, but it's 11 a.m. and there's a bunch of round tables, and we're looking at a room full of 50-year-old men, half of them balding, all wearing brand new unwashed Black Crowes t-shirts.
You definitely needed some acid for this.
And we're
gig.
like, oh boy, we're supposed to play like 30 minutes, and I mean, the first song ended, and it's just this, yeah, good one, yeah. And then it gets really quiet. And there's no professional. We're not entertainers yet. We're not performers. We're a band from dirty clubs. And we're just looking at each other going, what in the hell is this accomplishing? How is this even possible? We walked off that stage, took pictures with every one of these numbnuts, and then they said, well, the hotel bar's got lunch for you. And we were like, thank you.
Yeah, out. And we're out.
Oh, God. But, I mean, there are bands who do that stuff every day. They're happy to do it. That was not us. But, again, there's not too many times I can look back in life of a being in a band and go like, I can't believe what they asked us to do. There's a handful of those. There's a few we look back on and go, I can't believe we said yes to that.
Yeah, well, it could backfire, but I mean, that was one of those that just, was lame. It was weak. There are some that backfire. I'm remembering one time at this radio station, very early on when I joined the KQ Morning Show, I had a bit of a stalker. Mm-hmm. She's kind of a sweet person and didn't seem too wacky, but she would send stuff to the radio station that would make us, like, send a Playboy to the radio station. Well, isn't that kind of cool? It's the Jessica Alba edition. I remember Jessica Alba was on the cover. I'm like, well, look at this. She sent me this. Nothing weird about this. I'm in the boss office. We open it up, and she had cut a picture out of herself and put it over the face of every woman in that magazine, including the liquor ads and everything. And it was like, the hair of me. And he said, this is great. So we started talking about it on the air because we're just flirting with disaster, right? And trying to get me killed off, which would probably have been very good for ratings.
Sure.
But in the meeting, he's like, do you think you could, have you slept with her? I said, no, I haven't slept with her. I've seen her at a couple of gigs. He goes, well, why don't you? Why don't you sleep with her? See if we can't amp this up a little bit. See if we can't get a little something going here. And I'm like, I mean, I will, but how do I approach that? But I did not end up sleeping with her. And but I see a lot of that on Administrative Assistants Day. A lot of bosses. One boss asked their administrative assistant to get a happy ending massage together on a business trip.
Oh, come on.
All right. We want to know what's the weird. You don't have to be an administrative assistant today. By the way, if you are, congratulations for keeping the wheels of commerce turning. I mean, it would be a broken down heap on the side of the road without the administrative assistant.
If we had to have the bosses manage their own time, the entire economy would shut down.
It would come to a grinding halt. But anyone, just weird things that your boss has asked you to do, required of you. We'd love to hear about it this morning. We'll get something up on the KQ Facebook page, and 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line. We better get along. We got a sports and music history lesson coming, and Mike Evans' Hollywood Report. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Let's head west. It's time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and a very pleasant good day to the lovely Candace and Steve and Tony and Zep. And I want to remind everybody it's Wednesday. I hope you took advantage of the big, great weekly deal every Tuesday. Marcus Theater, $6, get you in to see any movie. Some great movies are playing. Make a plan to go to Marcus Theaters this weekend. Take a date, or if you can get next Tuesday off, Take advantage of that $6 deal only, exclusively at Marcus. You know, I often have negative stories about some of the egomaniacs, the nuts, the freaks, the clowns of Hollywood. So today I want to start with a couple of good and nice nuggets. And we start with Drew Carey. You know, when the Writers Guild strike was going on, Drew Carey very quietly spent thousands and thousands of dollars delivering food to the striking members who were out on the picket line. Didn't want anybody to know, but I found out and wanted to share. Next, this week, Eminem celebrating 16 years of sobriety and has said he plans to hit the road and perform and speak at some big AA events, trying to help others with their battles against alcoholism. How cool is that? Called the Stay Sober Tour. Locations and when will be kept very, very private. Media will not be notified. That's the way it should be. I guess no surprise that Kim Kardashian appeared on the Jimmy Kimmel Show on Monday night. I think trying to smooth out the Taylor Swift kind of a feud going on. Kim has always been jealous of Taylor Swift. You can understand why. Taylor Swift has talent and looks and class and personality, all things Kim might be missing. Oh, speaking of Taylor Swift, she wants to sell her multi-billion-dollar New York City pad and is looking to buy in Palos Verdes, California. Well, I love PV. It's a suburb of Los Angeles, and with her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, getting more involved in the TV business, and rumors that Taylor might want to try acting, makes sense PV be a perfect place for them. And Anne Hathaway says that she was regularly forced to make out with as many as 10 guys before getting acting gigs back in the early 2000s. The actors, sometimes directors, the studio would call them chemistry tests with these new actresses coming up. I think they also called them the casting couch, if I'm not mistaken. Most wannabe hot actresses just coming up were subject to that kind of stuff, no secret. Heck, Harvey Weinstein would insist on that procedure for himself, and he wasn't even a director or an actor. But the truth of the matter is this is nothing new for Hollywood. Clara Bow, Lillian Gish, Mary Pickford all complained about the same thing back in 1924. That was 100 years ago. It's been going on for 100 years. Hey, have a great day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Mike Evans, see ya.
I'm Steve Gorman. That was Mike Evans, Brian Zepp, Candace Wheeler, Tony Lee back with us soon. I saw Tony yesterday briefly.
Yeah. How's he doing?
Doing great. Dropped off a little, chow for the family. Got a minute to check up, say what's up.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing. It will be when Tony rejoins us. He's doing well, and he's greatly appreciative of all the comments on our Facebook page. Let's look back. It is time. On this day in 1983, the Boston Celtics and the Atlanta Hawks played a game. Tree Rollins, the 7-foot center for the Atlanta Hawks, and Danny Ainge, the guy whose face was constantly stuck in that petulant, whiny, you just wanted to smack him. They had a fight. Danny Ainge is about 6'2", Tree's 7 feet tall. They went down on the floor, and in the middle of the fight, Danny Ainge bit Tree Rollins' finger. At least that's how everybody remembered it. The reality was Tree Rollins bit Danny Ainge's finger. He almost bit it off. Ainge said he bit all the way through. There were stitches. Tree Rollins got down to the bone. But it's funny, the giant 7-footer biting the little guy, and everybody remembered it backwards. Because at the end of the day, everybody was always looking for a reason just to piss on Danny Ainge. I still can't stand that guy.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Wednesday, April the 24th. Good morning. It is Administrative Assistance Day. Oh, boy. Happy day to all of the long-suffering administrative assistants out there.
All right.
Obviously, there's always the there's always the trope in movies and TVs about the what we used to call secretaries, now administrative assistants. They're actually the ones running the show. You know what I mean? It's like you got the boss who's a genius, but he's a complete, absent-minded genius type of guy. And there's always the assistant. There's always the person off to the side who's actually keeping the thing on the tracks running down. And you don't see too many of those people's. When are we going to get a show about that administrative assistant? I want to see their show, and then you realize, because actually no one cares. It's like it's all about the wacky guy who pulls out the big deal and makes it happen, and we don't care who's keeping his schedule running. But trust me, I care. The world I lived in for years, the band, they just show up and maybe they're great, maybe they're not. It's the tour manager, it's the production manager. That's who gives your favorite show. That's who gets your favorite show to town and gets your favorite band on stage. I have nothing but respect for the people that keep the wheels running, and it's very rarely it's not the guy on the mic talking, hey. It's the behind the scenes folks that do everything. They're the ones with the screwdriver going around going, hey, let me tighten that, let me hammer that out. So happy Administrative Assistance Day, near and far. I do like the idea, though. We were talking earlier about just crazy requests bosses have made. Yeah. It's like the idea that, my boss asked me to be Santa Claus for his kids at a holiday party. A lot administrative assistant, you get a degree. You have a few jobs. You get to a place where you're like, no, I'm a great administrative assistant. And the guy looks at you and goes, let's see, you graduated with honors from the U. Okay, cool. Listen, have you ever been Snoopy before? Have you ever won a Snoopy contest? It's just right. That's always good stuff. Yeah, that's the college dropout stuff. When you end up in radio, then we're putting on skunk costumes and handing out cream soda at the mall. That's what you do. Here's a boss that asked me to go buy a pipe for her to smoke her weed out of because she had a party she was going to later that night. Clearly, you've been identified as the podhead in the office. Well, I mean, it's good. It's good to let your freak flag fly occasionally, I guess. There are some bosses in Minneapolis right now who are looking at themselves and shaking their head in chagrin. I just saw this story. The Wells Fargo Tower, that's the third tallest building in the city, is now on the market. It was purchased last in 2019 for $314 million. In 2019, not a great time to buy a downtown office high-rise because in 2020, well, that's when the pandemic hit. It is now on the market. It is expected to sell for less than $120 million. From $314 to $120 in 5 years. Ooh,
did you hear that, Cumulus?
That's
I'd like
that
top floor. Yeah, let's get that bad boy going. That takes me back to 2008 in the spring when I bought an investment condo on an ARM loan because it was the way to go by that fall. Upside down. The office building stuff in downtown Minneapolis. There's a lot of talk about turning much of this space over into residential space, luxury apartments, maybe some affordable. I don't know how they divvy that stuff up, but I was reading a story about that in the Star Tribune, and apparently that's really expensive to do, to convert buildings from office space to residential, which makes sense. You got to live in the thing. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe And
I tell you what, it's a gorgeous building. That Art Deco style, it's just lit up at night. I see it all the time. It's gorgeous. So, $120 million, it can be ours. That's for the three of us. That's $40 million each. Are we in, guys?
Let me run some numbers later. I might have to hold off on that new bicycle I was going to buy.
I'm not saying we should pay cash. We'll get a loan, of course. But I mean, come on, we all got good credit,
right? If Maria co-signs for me, I'm sure I can get something in.
By the way, speaking of breaking news, so that just came across the desk, which is my way of saying I saw it on Twitter during the commercial break. Yeah. And I also saw another. There are new laws going into effect with airlines, and they are no longer going to have nearly as easy a time as screwing us all over. Check this out. This is happening now. It's now in the federal books. It will be within 6 months. Absolutely happening. If an airline screws you over, right now, if you are owed a refund, if your flight gets canceled or if it's delayed and you lose a day or whatever, you're owed a refund. You have to go chase it down. You have to repeatedly call and email. That's going away. There are now going to be automatic refunds on the to the payment that you made. Like if it's a credit card, if it's a bank account, however you paid for your ticket, 7 days or less. Any canceled ticket, boom, they refund you. If you paid for a bag and it didn't show up when it was supposed to, you're refunded. If you're delayed by 3 hours domestically or 6 internationally, you can have your flight refunded. If you paid for Wi-Fi on the plane, it didn't work, you will be refunded, all within 7 days. This is pretty great, actually. It's a long time coming. You know what I mean?
Did you see the story from Delta last night?
Which one?
Of course, they'll be raising their flight prices just a little bit as a result of this.
Oh, really?
To cover administrative costs and things and software costs that need to be implemented and a changeover cost. So, I mean, you're going to get refunded, but you're going to pay a little more up front. You know,
for us
you can't screw the big boys, you know, because the big boys they've got the boner. They do the screwing.
For us to get you your money back in a reasonable, humane way, it's going to cost us about $1 billion in software updates. That's how that goes. I appreciate the effort. That's all I'm saying.
Right. No, hey, exactly. I mean, it should just be a part of your business model. It's too bad it has to come to legislation, but that's how it gets done.
And by the way, speaking of business models, what is this? Is this like a CNBC or Fox Business Morning? Listen to us talking about like real jobs.
We're going to need some different music.
Wow. No, check this out. The FTC is now also banning non-compete clauses pretty much across the board. Now, if you're a non-compete clause is, well, I think we have an explanation of what that is.
Yeah, this is Lena Khan, the Federal Trade Commission chair.
The FTC has finalized a rule that will eliminate the vast majority of non-compete clauses in people's contracts. A non-compete clause is a provision that basically prevents people from taking a job with a competitor or starting a competing business, usually within a particular geographic area and for a certain period of time.
Boom.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm surprised how many people have non-competes in their jobs. I have some friends, like one of my buddies is a CPA here in Minnesota, and he has I'm like, you have a non-compete as a CPA? He goes, well, he does corporate CPA and there's business secret or whatever. Now in the state of Minnesota, as I understand it, because radio people always get these non-competes, and I've had some buddies that have had to fight these things in the state of Minnesota. There is, if you take it to court, you nearly always win. It's a right-to-work state, Minnesota. The problem is you have to take it to court, and that costs money, and it costs time. And by the time one of my friends got through it in court, the non-compete ended up expiring, and they ended up paying like $8,000 in legal fees to beat the non-compete that expired while it was being fought in court. So, so if this makes it automatic, that people, hey, they're just off. Just go ahead and redline that stuff or draw a black marker through it or whatever, redact it from your contract, then good for the worker, because, what a spot to be stuck in. Now you've got to move out of the market or, just because you're going to change jobs. And of course that'll help wages, I think, right?
Well, it's a way to, it's less restrictive for sure for the workers. Now the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is like, oh, no, we can't have this. Non-competes are vital for companies to better guard trade secrets and employees, and gives them greater incentive. No, listen, the guys with all the money always have a million reasons that their way is the right way. Yeah. And there are probably the one people that won't be able to get out of a non-compete are senior executives, and that's because those agreements have been negotiated like back and forth. The average employee signs a deal. There's no negotiation. It's if you work here and you leave, you can't go to a competitor for 6 months, 12 months. Right. That's totally common in media. You hear about that all the time. Radio, TV,
and
writers.
They don't compensate you for that a lot of times, depending on, I guess the weight that you can throw around. It's not like, hey, you know what, you can't work in the market for 1 year, but, we're going to go ahead and pay you out. An executive would get that written in, right? But for your average schmuck, you're not getting squat. Here's 2 weeks. Goodbye. See you. Wouldn't want to be you.
The Federal Trade Commission estimates about 30 million people, 1 in 5, are bound by non-competes, and it says this policy change will free up nearly $300 billion a year by encouraging people to swap jobs more freely. Yeah, there'll be some with any change like this, if this actually goes into effect, if they're able to pull this off. Yeah, there's corrections, there's overcorrections, there's undercorrections. Everything's a little dicey at first, I'm sure, and you'll hear a lot of things about it. But generally speaking, my first reaction to this is, hey, right on, man. Let people move on. If the job sucks, Take your chances with another one. Just as often, the grass is always greener, but just as often it's not. It just looks that way. So, there's good, there's bad. There's good and bad in all of these kind of things.
Yeah, it feels all good. Like the last piece of legislation that you talked about concerning the airlines, it feels good, and it should be good, and let's hope it's good. We've been around long enough to know that sometimes these things backfire or have unintended consequences almost always, but let's hope it errs on the side of the worker.
Yeah. Oh, we were talking about administrative assistants, and I had an idea. I had an example in my head, and I just realized it's from a TV show. The show Suits, starring Meghan Markle, or she's not the star. She's like the third or fourth on the bill.
That's
she's
Sir
one of the
Meghan
stars.
Markle to you.
Yeah, that's right, sir. Exactly. Lady Dane of Sheffield, whatever her title is now. Meghan Markle's show Suits. It's Meghan Markle and then a bunch of people that I've never seen in other shows. It's become a huge hit on Netflix over the last couple of years. And there's like think pieces about why is this show that nobody really cared about when it was on, why is it such a big deal on Netflix? And the reasons are, I think, pretty simple. It's an old school type of show, meaning it's not like Breaking Bad or The Sopranos where you have to focus and where it's like art where you dive in and turn off the phone and have an hour a week where you're just No, you can it's like a soap opera. Do some ironing, put the dishes away, put the lasagna in, whatever you're doing, it can be on in the background. And if you miss an important part, it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, the law firm continues and Donna, the administrative assistant, truly runs the show. That's like what's happening underneath every episode is the main dude, Harvey's assistant, really, really runs the show. And I do know this. That may be true. Maybe the hottest lawyers in the world, really it comes down to their legal assistant being the person that truly pulls the puppet strings. But I know one thing about that show is completely unrealistic, and that is this. They settle a new case every episode. They go in front of the same judge like 3 times a show. On the same day, like, let's get in front of the judge. And it's supposed to be in New York City. And they just settled, they have whole trials that last like 3 days in the course of an episode. If you've ever been involved in anything with the legal system, you take a number, man. That sandwich, they're not calling your number for months. And on this show,
right.
Because I kept reading and seeing people, or Suits is the biggest show on Netflix. And I'm like, all right, I got to see what it's all about. I watch a few episodes and I'm just like laughing at it going, I've been involved in 2 trials, like actual trials in my life. They're years long.
Yeah,
they take
right.
forever. Before you go to trial, it's depositions and it's this and it's that. On this show, it's hilarious, man. These guys, and the main guy, the main attorney, hires another attorney who didn't even go to law school, but they just pretend he did. I'm like, this is a show everybody loves. But hey, next thing you know, I'm in season 4, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm still watching this crap, but I'm still watching this crap. So that's how you have it.
I got to believe that, I hear about it because, Maria was a nurse for many, many years, and so those medical shows, which she likes to watch,
God, yeah, right,
but you've got to
right.
suspend belief when it comes to those because, it's just not accurate. That's not how it generally goes down in a hospital. And the police shows, I forget the name of it now, based on a series of very popular books, but based on a sheriff in Wyoming. Mm-hmm. And every week there was a murder. There's not a murder every month in Wyoming, believe it or not. The state has a population of less than, 1 quadrant of our metro area, the entire state. It's big. There aren't that many murders, but every week someone was getting murdered, and it was it's about 500,000 people in Wyoming. I don't think I don't think they got a murder a week in one town specifically. Not a murder. They might have like a death a week in Wyoming. That makes sense, but not a murder. But every week there was some big huge conspiracy behind every murder too, and it was. Yeah,
I don't know much about Wyoming. I do know that once a week by law, there's a mandated, you looking at me funny, bar fight. There's got to be one of those a week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's how that goes.
Oh, yeah. There's what does TV and movies get wrong about your job? That feels like a natural segue here this morning. By the way, at 8 o'clock, we're going to be talking with Donnie from the St. Croix Valley Riders.
Nice.
About some motorcycle events coming up that are pretty cool and some fundraisers and all that good stuff and some motorcycle legislation on the books in this session. So we're going to get that at 8 o'clock. Well, come on back. What do TV and movies get wrong about your job? I have to think about that. We have to think about a radio movie in the first place. But what about your job? TV and movies get into your business, and what do they get wrong about it? Again, the talk and text line always open, 651-989-ROCK. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, April the 24th. Bachman Turner Overdrive. Randy Bachman singing that song. Baby, you just say yeah. Why is he stuttering? Well, he's stuttering because his brother Gary, who was in the studio, had a speech impediment, had a bit of a stutter. And as they are brotherly, he was just poking fun at his little brother.
Yeah.
Like messing around. It was supposed to be what they call a scratch vocal. Here's how the song goes. And he just did it on the whim. They played the demo for the label, and the label's like, oh, that's the hook. That's incredible. You got to keep it in there.
Yeah.
Gary did eventually stop stuttering. He did overcome his speech impediment. Probably
despite his brother.
Yeah, probably inspired
Randy.
by the fact that suddenly, like, that song with the guy about the stutter, that's about you. But that to me, that's just good old-fashioned family. That's good brother shtick right there, man. If your brother's got a stutter and you're in there singing, you're going to look at him through the booth and go, oh, I'll just throw a few of these out there for him.
I love it. And I don't even remember that the first time I heard the song. In other words, why is he doing that? It just always seemed natural that he would be doing that in the song. It just sort of seemed to match the vibe and the pace of the tune. And then when I heard that, being a brother, especially the oldest brother, that would have done that to my younger brother, sucked his thumb till he was like in 6th grade. You don't think I didn't relentlessly torture him about that in school and everything else and at home. So that's that. And by the way, I would like to think because of my brotherly bullying. And I think Randy's stuttering. Every time he sang that song, I'm sure his brother was sitting back there going, that's it. I'm going to stop. Whatever it takes. Yep. I've got to get rid of this stutter.
In the studio, recording the song In My Time of Dying, the Led Zeppelin classic, the opus, the Odyssey that is In My Time of Dying, there's the breakdown part where Robert Plant is screaming, oh, my Jesus, oh, my Jesus. And then there's one of those where it sounds like he says, oh, my Gina, oh, my Gina. And word on the street is maybe that was that. And maybe Gina was Geezer Butler's wife, Gina. And maybe there was a little thing happening there. No confirmation, just the word on the street was, hey, hold on now. What about Geezer Butler's wife? But you know what? I wasn't there. I'm just telling you what I've heard. But yeah, the brother thing, the brother thing in our family, there was a bedwetter. I had a brother and a cousin who, after the point most people do, and only by a year or two, you're talking 7, 8 years old, still wet in the bed occasionally. And that's just I wouldn't wish that on anybody because, man, especially in a house with a bunch of other siblings, you're going to hear about it. And there's nothing you can do if you're a bedwetter.
Nope, that's just, that's called life. That's down and dirty. That's how it comes after you. Michael Landon. Oh, the actor Michael Landon.
I was going right there with you.
Were you? Yeah. That was the big thing. I got to go back in the day. You remember this stuff a lot better than I do, so I'm going to let you have it.
Well, it was a movie. It was a made-for-TV movie. The Loneliest
I remember it
Runner.
very well. Yeah.
The Loneliest Runner. And what I remember is the guy is an Olympic. He's the marathoner or the decathlon? I think he's the marathoner.
Aspiring, yeah. But it starts when he's in high school and he's wetting the bed, and his parents in an effort, I'm sure spearheaded by Dad in the movie now, this after-school special, his dad, in an effort to shame him and to get him to stop, would hang his sheet with the big pee stain out his bedroom window, which faced, when he got on the bus, all the students could see it. The entire neighborhood knew that he was wetting his bed, and the shame of it led him to somehow try and run it off or just go out and run. And
you know what it was?
Yeah,
I remember now. I do remember. And the movie starts with him winning the marathon like at the Olympics. And then he's doing a TV interview. This is totally coming back to me. And the guy says, okay, so we'll be on in a minute after the commercial break. He's like at a TV studio. And the journalist says, we'll go back to where it all started if that's okay. And he goes, sure. And then like the slow fade into his memory. Like, how did this all start? And here's how it started, Zepp, and you'll remember this. He was worried that the sheets would be hanging. I don't think it was in the morning on the way to school. I think it was after school. And so school would get out, and he would have to run to beat the bus. He had to get home and pull the sheets in that were hanging. So he built up his stamina by running faster than the school bus to get there ahead of the bus.
God, I mean, that gold medal goes to his dad, right? I don't know if he
has to
thanking him in the movie. Tough love. Sometimes that's the way to go, but no, that's not cool. I remember Michael Landon, my mom, A Little House on the Prairie. That was her show, and Michael Landon was her man. She had an insane crush on Michael Landon to the point where I didn't even want the show to come on because it was like, oh Michael this, Michael that, or whatever. It's like, gee, and it's weird to see your mom expressing a crush for another guy that's not your, or just a crush on anyone. Period. So it bothered me, and he was on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and he told the story that was his story. He didn't go on to win a gold medal, but he would wet the bed when he was a kid, and his parents would shame him, and he remembered that, and he used it as sort of the subplot line to write this movie. And I remember looking at Mom going, he's a bedwetter, and Mom going, I love him even more. He's vulnerable.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh, geez, are you kidding me?
You know who played the young Michael Landon character in that film? Lance Kerwin, the kid from James at 15.
Oh, my God.
Boy, it's all coming back to me now.
Yeah, it is.
Good Lord. What is wrong? Why do I remember any of this? I don't need any of
friends
this.
Chiming in now. The after-school specials. My favorite was My Dad Lives in a Hotel Downtown Now, about divorce. It was the mom. Oh, it was. Okay, thank you, Ray Eric, for checking in this morning. Ray remembers the after-school special. It wasn't the dad. Sounds like a dad thing, doesn't it? But it was a mom thing. Mom did it to shame him.
Oh, boy.
Hung the sheet out the window.
That's brutal. Well, that just goes to show that TV and movies get it wrong all the time.
And so do I.
I mean, what was she? What was she? Part Bengal tiger? What was wrong with this woman? My God.
Yeah.
TVs and movies, they don't get it right all the time. Maybe for The Loneliest Runner it was right, but for workplace dramas, definitely not. You mentioned your mom. Marie had been a nurse for a long time, and she said the medical shows you always hear about that. Like the medical professionals are like, they watch one episode of Chicago Hope, and they're like,
you watch Grey's Anatomy with her, and it's like no, and I'm like, well, I don't even want to. Why are we watching this then? We're watching it for you, but there's someone's in love with someone. There's a soap opera, appeal to it, I guess.
My sister-in-law Bev was an ER nurse in Baltimore, in downtown Baltimore, off and on for 40 years. And Baltimore's a rough town. It's about as rough as it gets. And she was an ER nurse working late night shifts for years and years and years. And I'll never forget one time, just all family sitting around holidays. We're back in Maryland. This is like in the mid 90s. There's a bunch of grandkids in around. My older brothers and sisters have kids. Big family night, and we're flipping channels, and the kids are starting to get a little tired, and ER or something like that comes on. And somebody said, Bev, how realistic are these shows? And she literally goes, well, how many times an episode does someone come in with a household appliance up their butt? And right then I was like, I don't ever want to ask her another question about her life, her job.
No.
She's like, nah, if it's not about all the things people cram up their butt, it ain't real. And I was like, oh my word.
We approached that subject, I remember, here one morning in the last year, and it took over the show, and I had a couple of nurse friends, and including Maria, who were like, oh, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, that story after story after story, and I'm like, I must know someone that's done this then. Obviously, it didn't come up at a happy hour or on a ski weekend or a hunting trip, but I mean, it happens so often. Here's one at the hospital, things that happen or things that TV and the movies get wrong about jobs. If someone codes at the hospital, in other words, we would think of it as flatlining. There is not a big long...
Always that...
No. The tone just indicates heartbeats, and you can't shock someone from flatline back to life. Just makes their body jump. You have to do the CPR and get them breathing again. I didn't know that. I thought, I would have been reaching for the defibrillator, on the wall here at Cumulus.
Then what do we use the defibrillator for? If it's not
something
to bring
after that. Yeah, now we're going to have a medical professional finish that story because I don't know from there. Yeah.
Wow. Just to finish that one thought. Yeah, I believe the other thing Bev said that night was, you haven't lived until you've seen a fully intact GE light bulb come out of someone's butt.
Oh my God.
Are you
Well,
okay?
light bulb.
Hey.
Come on, man. What are you doing? It's got to at least go with a mustard bottle. It has some, I don't know why I said mustard, but it's got to, have some, what strength to the glass.
Yeah.
The light bulb, I suppose that's living on the edge, though, isn't it? All right, here's one.
Well, it's a combination: strength to the glass and phenomenal muscle control down there.
I'm impressed more than anything. Weirded out. My weirdo meter's at 11, but fairly impressed. I don't think I could pull it off. Explosives. All right, now I like to say demolition specialist when I was in the Army, but I was a combat engineer, and one of the things that we did was blow things up, ring mains, that sort of thing, using C4, a plastic explosive, and TNT and that sort of stuff. Guess what never happens when you blow something up? Fireball. A big, huge fireball. Maybe, I suppose, if you blow a car up, there might be some fireball to it, but most of the time cars go off cliffs and they hit. They don't explode. But they use that for everything. Grenades. It drives me crazy. You throw a grenade. Every grunt did that. You don't have to be a combat engineer to have done that. You throw a grenade. There's no flame. It's just a big boom. There's dirt. There's shrapnel. There's debris.
Yeah, right.
But there's no flame. But in the movies...
Always.
Always. You've got to have the big ball of flame. I'm like, what's the accelerant? Where did the flame come from?
I mean, come on. That's the entire shtick from the classic SCTV, the Farm Film Report. He blowed up good. He blowed up real good.
He blowed up real good.
He blowed up good. It's fantastic.
I mean, blowing stuff up is fantastic. I just don't know why you need the fireball.
It is a visual medium. And,
all right. I get it.
Super important. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talking text line. Candace, who is on the horn?
Essie from Minneapolis.
Essie, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
What's going on out there? What do you got for us?
Well, I can speak to the shocking a patient versus flatline.
Please, educate us.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if there's a flatline, there's no muscular activity of the heart. There's no electrical activity.
Okay.
And so you have to have some type of muscle depolarization to the heart for the electricity to work. So if you're flatlined, you have to start CPR and get the circulation going. And hopefully in getting that circulation going, you get the blood flowing back to the heart enough that there is an electrical, the muscles of the heart want to depolarize again. And once you have some type of electrical activity of the heart, then you can shock them.
So you're priming the motor before pulling the cord, is what you're telling me.
Absolutely. And that's
so you go with the staying alive, the CPR. That worked? Do you do the staying alive, huh?
Literally, you've got to get the blood flowing, and if there's no blood flow, then you've got nothing. You just got to keep doing CPR, and hopefully you can get them restarted. Some people you can't.
Well, it makes sense when you say it.
I've been doing it all wrong, and that's why I've never brought any of these people back. I finally got. Thank you. Gosh, I've been so confused. I thought my defibrillator game was on point, but obviously not.
Because I'm the one most likely to probably drop on this show at any time. So, thank you for setting Steve straight here. I'm going to need him to save my life at some point, maybe yet this morning. All right, now, I'm sorry, was Essie? Is that?
Yep, Essie.
Essie. All right, when was the last time someone put something up their butt?
Ooh, we just had this talk at work last week, and I've always worked cardiac critical care, but it was my experiences as an ER nurse where you are introduced to that population a little more often, and it gets interesting, and there's a point of no return where those patients definitely have to go right into the OR.
That's got to be surgically removed. All right.
Yeah.
These things happen.
What's the weirdest thing? Anything anybody of those ER nurses say, oh, yeah, we heard light bulb this morning already.
No, back in the day, a couple of weird ones. Back in the day was a woman, back when they cut soap in squares, they didn't have the rounded edges.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
This woman said, she fell and slipped on the soap, and it was in there.
It was in there.
Wow. Got a C sharp out of Essie. That's awesome. I tell you what, man, we need more medical check-ins from our cardiac care team. Thanks, Essie. This is great. We really appreciate the call.
Have a great day.
See ya.
She used the word population. It happens so often that there's a population of people that do it. That's all I'm saying. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. I feel like, you know what I feel like now? I feel like I'm missing out on something.
Well,
I'm not. No.
We're off the air in a little over 2 hours. We got time. It's early in the day.
I got here a water bottle now. I don't know.
All right.
Headphones. All right.
651-989-ROCK. Candace, who we got?
Shelly from Woodbury.
Shelly, good morning.
Good morning again.
What's happening again?
Hey, I'm an X-ray tech on the night shift.
Oh,
at
boy.
Regions.
You literally have seen it all then.
Oh, yeah. I think our worst one was a fully intact, full with the cap on beer bottle.
All right, Anna. All right, the shape-wise, I get it, but drink the beer. Enjoy yourself the beer. It's only going to get warm, right? With the cap on, okay.
Maybe that was the goal, but they just put it in backwards and forgot what they were trying to get.
Maybe they were trying to get the top off. You think you got such a tight sphincter that you can. Maybe it was a bet, and I can pop the cap off this. No.
Oh, the worst part was they had to take them to the OR because they're kind of sharp on the edges.
Yeah.
And you can't pull that back.
Oh, out. Right. Yeah. Ouch.
You just tear up the colon.
Oh, great day in the morning. One minute we're talking about movies and TV, and the next it's all just butt play. That's how
tear
it goes
up the colon.
There's been tennis balls, electric razors, a curtain rod.
A curtain rod.
I don't know how much of the curtain rod was hanging out, but yeah, there was a curtain rod.
There is Amazon will deliver to your house just the most sublime, wonderfully. They have this nice coating on it, a wonderful texture. You get a free bottle of lube with it, all sorts of things for the back door. But yeah, I mean, do you understand the psychology behind this? Because if I'm reaching for the curtain rod, it's not just for a good time. There's got to be something loose.
A little toy play.
All right. Okay. Winters are long here in Minnesota.
You always got to have a retrieval system.
That's the key. That's the key.
You heard it from Shelly,
yep.
The X-ray tech. Have a retrieval system. You want to, probably tie it off, right?
Well, to pull it back out.
Yeah, it's common
well, I
sense.
mean, and they say dachshunds were bred to chase down like badger holes, but no, we know what they were really going after. That was the original retrieval system. Yeah, that was the original retrieval system for the royal courts throughout Europe in the 1500s.
Hey, Shelley, one more quick question here. Now, does anyone ever come in and just say, "Yep, I just wanted to shove something up my butt and I grabbed this," or is it all I slipped and fell or there was an accident kind of stuff?
Some of them just come right out and say, we were just having a good time and we lost control.
Well, look, I mean, that's better because, you can get on Instagram. You always see those videos of the guy trying to bounce a ping pong ball so that it lands on top of a Dasani bottle that's open. And, they do it, but it took a million shots. That beer bottle's not going up there by accident. There's just... You have a better chance of getting the Apollo 13 to come back through the orbit than make that happen unless you're intending it. So, Shelly, this is great. Thank you for the insight.
Yes,
appreciate you listening.
Right.
Sure thing. Thanks
See
for
all right.
you do.
Oh, my gosh. All right. I don't know if we can top that, but why
you...
not give it a try? Candace, who's up now?
All right. Chris from Maplewood.
Chris, good morning.
Good morning. So I'm a current ER nurse, and I always let people know that they need to have an exit strategy if they're going to put something up their butt.
That's it, the exit strategy.
The retrieval, the exit.
With a good set of balls on it, so it doesn't get sucked right in there.
Yeah, sure. It's important. So it's not
One of those little eggs. Make sure you put it in a condom so you can pull her back out again.
Yeah, it's not an uncommon thing. Then is what we've learned today.
Not uncommon. We see it almost every day.
Almost every day.
Okay. All right. Well, I do feel like my curiosity is piqued, and I don't know if I have the wherewithal or if I do enough drinking anymore to follow through with it. But I'm very curious what everyone is so,
Don't be curious.
Okay, don't be curious. All right.
Don't be curious.
I'm going to go with... Yeah, and I'm bad with retrieval systems. That's something I would forget, an exit strategy, and go, but they told us on the morning show, and I forgot all about it.
I think that time is come and gone. It's like starting to smoke right now. What's the point, really? You know what I mean? You made
What's the point? Yeah, you're right. I'm good. I've got lots of other ways to enjoy life.
Okay, so we've got retrieval systems, we've got exit strategies, we've got a plan. Thank you for the call. And by the way, thanks for what you do. Boy, where would the world be without ER nurses? Thank you.
A lot of people out there with, stuff lodged. A lollipop. I heard about that one time, too. Someone just all the way in with the lollipop, and it had the stem on it, and they had to do surgery for that one. Donnie Morley with the St. Croix Valley Riders. Boy, do you have a segment to follow here, brother. We're talking about all things motorcycle riding, the season coming in. We will get to some warmer weather. I mean, we've had it and bursts here and there. Also talking with State Senator Judy Seeberger about some biker legislation. That one where you get to cut between the traffic, between the lanes. All that coming up here at the top of the hour. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. In a few moments, we're going to be joined on this show by Donnie Morley and State Senator Judy Seeberger. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things motorcycle related, some legislation pending right now in the state, trying to get things turned around, make a little bit more sense for the two-wheelers out there, Zep included, the St. Croix Valley Riders org, Donnie Morley, of course, with that group. Not our first time chatting with the man himself. So that's coming up in just a quick minute or two. There's always... as I'm learning, there's always something pending in terms of legislation trying to make the world a better place for the bikers.
Yeah, and last time I talked about the St. Croix Valley Riders doing the tough work. I mean, who wants to hang out at the state capitol unless you're Senator Seeberger in the legislative process? But going out there and lobbying for biker rights, which can be quickly plucked away from any organization, but especially what we like to do as a pastime. They're always like looking to monkey with it and tinker with it. But I did not mention ABATE last time, and I heard about it at the Donnie Smith Bike Show because ABATE does so much, of which I've been a member, and I just want to throw out that ABATE here in Minnesota promoting, I'm on their website, abatemn.org, seeking to promote positive aspects of motorcycling, striving to protect the rights of motorcyclists, local, state, national political process. So we thank ABATE very much as well. And I think I hear Donnie in the background. Is that Donnie?
Yes, it is. Good morning, Brian Zepp.
Good morning, Donnie Morley with the St. Croix Valley Riders, and I think Senator Seeberger, Candace, is getting her hooked up here for us this morning. Before we get to some of the fun bike stuff, the rowdy stuff coming up, and first of all, talk a little bit about the flood run. The flood run, of course, last weekend, raising money for the Gillette Children's Hospital. It is a big, huge run. We do it twice, the third weekend in April and the third weekend in September every year. Wasn't able to get out this year. I'll be out in September. How do things go from your perspective, Donnie?
It was a slow start. It was pretty chilly. We set up our SCVR trailer at the outpost in Bay City. Twin City Harley-Davidson was right there with us out of the Lakeville store. And as soon as the bikes started rolling, about 10 a.m., they didn't stop all day. Yeah. And it wasn't a flop. I think a lot of people thought it was going to be a flop, but there were a lot of diehard riders out there. Our current president, Dwight Smith, and his wife showed up at 9 a.m. with icicles coming out of their nostrils.
I'll tell you that one in April, I've been laying there in bed. It's the third weekend of April, and then again the third weekend of September, and we usually do pretty well in September, that rain notwithstanding, but April, that's really a crapshoot. I remember snowplows being out, hearing the snowplows going down the streets in St. Paul as I'm laying there going, if it doesn't get into the 30s, I'm not firing up the bike. But then you end up firing up the bike for the Gillette Children's Hospital and the kids and all the good work the flood run does in that regard. And you get your butt out there and maybe you make one stop and you're having coffee and maybe instead of an ice cold beer. But good, flood run in the books now. There's a lot more coming up. I do want to mention the Dirty Rotten Biker Fest. I don't know how many years we're into the Dirty Rotten Biker Fest, but that's happening May 4th at the Princeton Fairgrounds, and I want to mention it because I'm going to be there again, emceeing, hanging out. We got a lot going on. Go to DirtyRottenBikerFest.com. It's just as fun as it sounds. You know that if you've been there. So come on out and join us. That's my plug. Do we have Senator Seeberger on the line with us yet, Donnie? Candace?
I'm here, everybody.
Yep. Oh, Senator Seeberger, thanks for joining the party.
Here I am. Right.
Sounds great. Well, good morning. Hey, Donnie, good to talk to you. Good to hear your voice again and talk with you. State Senator Judy Seeberger, thank you for joining us. Okay,
I'm chopped liver now, Judy. It's all yours.
You had your moment in the sun, Donnie. Hey, so let me ask you this: you guys, in addition to all the fun rides and the great events that are a blast, there's also, of course, very serious business, and that's where Senator Seeberger comes in. You're looking at Senate bill, or we're looking at this number 5174 that allows motorcycles to share or split lanes. Explain the details of this bill and why it's so important.
Yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about this. I'm really excited about this piece of legislation for a couple of reasons. Number one, you hear a lot about partisanship and, the two sides not being able to get along across the aisle, and this is a truly bipartisan bill. This is authored by Senator Julia Coleman, and she approached me and asked if I was interested in being a co-author on this because she knew that I was a motorcycle rider and interested in legislation that affects and impacts riders like me. And I'm really pleased that we're able to work together to get this bill moving through. And what it does is, when it was first presented to me, I wasn't completely on board. I was a little concerned with issues of safety and what does this mean, and are other drivers going to understand or even tolerate motorcycles doing lane splitting, lane filtering, when we see what other drivers do when it comes to the zipper merge. But then I thought about it more, learned about it more, talked to Donnie about it actually, and I think it's a great bill. It really allows motorcycles who are stuck in traffic to get themselves out of that situation. As we know, when a motorcyclist is stopped in traffic, they run a real risk of being struck by other cars, trucks, vehicles on the road. This is a real danger. We're kind of sitting ducks when we're out there. And in addition to the fact if it's a hot day, we're out there baking in the sun. So what this allows us to do is to get ourselves out of that situation with some parameters. We can't go any more than 15 miles an hour faster than the traffic around us. We can't go any more than 40 miles per hour regardless of the situation. So it really gives us an out, but it doesn't give us free rein to drive wherever, whenever we want, weaving in and out of traffic, which was my initial concern. So I'm super excited about this bill. It's, from what I understand, leadership is on board, folks are on board, and my fingers are crossed that we can get this thing moving and across the finish line yet here this session.
It makes perfect sense to me. I'm always astonished because every year, a few times a year, there's a story that comes across of this very thing. A motorcycle's at a red light and somehow just gets rear-ended. I mean, even in stop and starts traffic, somehow people still miss bikes. It's amazing it still happens, but it still happens all the time. So this bill would go
all the time. Yeah,
go a very long way. And I like your initial point. It's bipartisan. This is one of the few things we can go. Can we just be common sense here? Can we just agree that this is a practical measure and it's good for everybody involved?
Absolutely.
Senator Seeberger, is there anything that motorcyclists need to do to push this over the finish line? I know it's already the bill's been introduced and you're working through the process at the state legislature, got the bipartisan thing. Do calls need to be made? Do emails need to be sent to the governor for this to get signed off on? Or is we just kind of sit and wait and see how the process unfolds?
It always helps to contact your legislator. And you can do that by sending a quick email. You can just Google who is my legislator in Minnesota, and it'll pop up with a website. You enter your address. It'll tell you exactly who your legislators are. Yeah. Shoot them a quick email. Just say you support this bill. You'd like to see it get across the finish line. You love that it's bipartisan. And that small gesture goes a very long way.
That's great.
Right. Outstanding.
State Senator Judy Seeberger is with us, along with Donnie Morley. Sorry, Donnie, go ahead.
I think we need to make sure, too, that getting the bill across the line is the smallest hurdle. The biggest hurdle is going to be public awareness and education, so that when the bikes start doing this, the motorists on the roadways of Minnesota understand what's going on.
Right. Don't start freaking out.
That's
Yep.
Yeah, that really is a very valid point. And I'm sure there are ways to get that message across. We'll do our part, I can assure you of that, because this does seem like such a good this is going to be better for everybody on the road. But I guarantee you, yeah, to your point, there will be plenty of people in cars going, what's this guy think he's doing? And what he's doing is making it safer for everybody. Another bill that you guys are looking at, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this, Judy, is involving autonomous vehicles. I drive an SUV, and the idea of autonomous vehicles, driverless cars, freaks me out. I can only imagine what that does to a motorcycle rider.
When Don brought this to my attention, I can't think of anything scarier, to be quite honest with you, than being out on my bike and having an autonomous vehicle anywhere in my vicinity. Mm-hmm. As we were just talking about, human beings behind the wheel can't see us and hit us. I can't imagine what an autonomous vehicle, the risks that they would put us in. So Donnie and I have been working on this. It's kind of a big project. We don't have time to get to it this session here. We've only got 16 days left in the session, but we're looking at legislation in other states. We're looking at legislation that California has passed. And kind of the benefit of when other states do this, you can look at it and say what works well, what doesn't work well, and how can we tailor it so that it meets the needs of the folks in Minnesota. So Donnie and I are going to be working on this over the interim. I fully expect to show up next session with a really great bill that provides some protection for us out there on the roads from autonomous vehicles. It's horrifying to think that
it's scary. It's scary.
It is scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've all seen the horror movie Christine. Autonomous vehicles, how evil they can be. You know what? If I could, I am going to lighten things up. Let's thank you, Senator Seeberger, and please stick around because what we're going to move along to now is the SCVR, St. Croix Valley Riders Open House, and some of these bike rides coming up. This is how I love to support organizations like the St. Croix Valley Riders or ABAID of Minnesota, is by getting out and having a good time. And Donnie, the big open house for SCVR is coming up. This is how people get out, support what it is you guys do. So all that behind the scenes stuff, working with Senator Seeberger, going to the state legislature and lobbying for motorcycle rights. This is how the money gets raised, by having a good time and getting out for these rides. So let's talk about a good time. The open house coming up.
Open house this Saturday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. or whenever, depends on the crowd. We have Jeff Humble, the general manager of St. Paul Indian, is hosting our open house for us. We're going to have food, drink, live music. We got Steve Jacoby, the one-man band. He's phenomenal. And rain or shine, we can go inside if we have to. We can stay outside with umbrellas. It doesn't matter. We'll have some tents. We got a silent auction. We got some door prizes. And it's just an all-around good time. We usually have several hundred people that show up throughout the course of the event. And we'll sign members up. We inform people about legislation. There's all kinds of motorcycle run talk going on. We have a new list that we're going to be sharing with members, and it is called The List. It's motorcycle rallies, rides, and party list for 2024. It's something new that we're doing at St. Croix Valley Riders, too, if I might plug that real quick. On our website, we're going to have The List page, and we want to be what City Pages used to be to the music scene. We're going to, the stcroixvalleyrider.org website is going to be to motorcycle events. We're going to see that up and running in a couple of weeks, by the way, but we're going to start making people aware of that at our open house. And, I've invited some special guests. Now, whether they can make it or not, I get it. We've asked Judy to be there. She's kind of busy in session right now. If she can make it, she'll be there. Brian, of course, we wanted to have you there, but we understand your logistical complication right now.
Somewhere else I got to be this weekend, unfortunately. Hate to miss it.
Yeah. But Steve, Mr. Gorman, if you want to come out and sign a few autographs and say hi and get you introduced to the Indian folks, and
sure.
You can look at some bikes and get you ready for that that bike run June 22nd for the rally in the Valley, we can start laying the groundwork for that.
Yeah,
I've been working on some juggling magic tricks. I'm ready. I'm ready to show, and I'm going to put on a show. How about that?
Nice.
All right. Well, the information's all at scvr.org. I see there's another website you sent us, stcroixvalleyriders.org. That's Saint with the ST, CroixValleyRiders.org. I imagine where all the bike rides and fun-related stuff and events are going to be listed as well, or SCVR about the open house happening this weekend at St. Paul Indian. Donnie, we're running short on time here. I'll give you about 15 more seconds. You got something else you want to pitch in, buddy?
Yeah, I need to say thanks to our supporters. There's a lot of businesses in Minnesota and Wisconsin that are helping support SCVR. They are Asylum Cycle, Big Guys Barbecue, Pearson Trucking, Sugars, Captain Jack's, the R-Bar, Nate's Garage, St. Paul and Twin City Indian Motorcycle, Gaslight Bar and Grill, which is the home of the Rally in the Valley and the infamous chili feed, and I believe where Candace was born, if I remember right.
I think she was. And a bed of cheese curds, yeah.
We love having Candace out there, by the way.
Of course. Absolutely. All right, Donnie, Senator Seeberger, thanks for your time this morning. scvr.org. Do you have the other website up, stcroixvalleyriders.org? I'm confused now.
They're both
one and the same.
So they're one and the same, yes, sir.
All right. Donnie, thank you. We'll talk again soon. And Senator Seeberger, thanks for your time and your good work.
Thank you so much. I'd love to join you again.
Anytime.
Yeah, please
See
do.
you.
Thanks for having us, morning crew.
All right, rock and roll. I like talking about it, man. Here we go with the big season. Yeah,
at the bike show last month, hanging out, seeing all the people. The times I've spent talking to Donnie, I look at him, and then I spend 10 minutes with the guy, and he leaves, and I'm like, I'd vote for him for anything. Whatever. I'll get right behind. I'll run into a burning building behind that guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a leader of men right there, and women.
Yeah, he is. He's doing a great job for him. They've had a lot of fantastic leaders over the years, from Mark Kuhn to Dwight Smith as well. Both those guys, and a lot of folks involved with it still. But Donnie grabbing the reins here. He's an energetic, motivated man, and that's just what we need when it comes to going to I'm not going over to the state legislature. I care. I want to see these things happen, but I'm not going to get off my butt and go do it, and most people aren't, but those folks do, so we appreciate it. And then, like I said, as far as coming up with some money, raising some funds, it's just they just throw a big party that you want to attend. Good times.
It always helps.
Game show time. Shall we run along here?
Speaking of good times, come on.
Yeah, speaking of lawsuits, we have a little thing. Tony cooked this up for us a while back. We're going to make a stab at this in his absence. 2 truths and a lawsuit. All will be explained. You just get on the horn right now. 651-989-ROCK. 2 callers. We're playing for Minnesota Twins, the White Sox, tonight at Target Field. This is a team we've beat and we can continue to beat. Boy, we've got to beat the Sox. All right, anyway, tonight at Target Field, our runner-up trilogy, tribute to the Doors, Led Zeppelin, and Pink Floyd. That's Saturday at the Medina. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck, and hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Momentarily, we're going to give away tickets to 2 events. A winner in a game we're about to play is going to get tickets for tonight's Twins-White Sox game at Target Field. The runner-up prize is tickets to Saturday at Medina, tribute to the Doors, Led Zeppelin, and Pink Floyd, the trilogy show. But hold your horses. Right now, we just lost one of our callers, so we need a second contestant right now to call it 651-989-ROCK. 651-989-ROCK. Let's go for caller number 2. In the meantime, I like to, poke around and look at things online during the commercial breaks. Twitter, Facebook, I look at stuff. Remember the movie Midnight Run, Robert De Niro, Charles Grodin?
Classic.
As good as it gets, right?
Yeah. Oh, see, I've watched that movie 10 times.
Yeah. Oh, hands down. And it's one of the all-time most rewatchable. Anytime you're flipping channels and you see it, no matter where it is in the movie, I'm going to sit there and just watch it till it ends. I love Midnight Run. And I've read articles about the making of Midnight Run. I've seen interviews with the main people talking about that movie. Check this out. I never heard this, and I just read this, and this is true. There's a train scene where there's, towards the end of the movie, Grodin and De Niro jump on a train. They're riding a train.
Yeah.
They shot that in Flagstaff, Arizona. While that was being shot, at the end of the train scene, when the train is pulled over, there's a 1,000 cop cars surrounded because the cops are chasing these guys, right?
Yeah.
You can see the train pulled over, a police helicopter, a bunch of squad cars, and they're searching through the boxcars. As they were shooting that scene in downtown Flagstaff, Arizona, at a coffee shop, this is really happening. 2 men attempted to kidnap a woman. They grabbed her. They were running her out to the car, and then a whole bunch of police cars and the police helicopter come racing with sirens blaring.
That was fast.
They're like, "Oh my God!" They threw the girl down and fled the scene, and she got away because they were shooting a movie a block away.
Wow, what are the frickin' odds?
Can you imagine being that girl and for the rest of your life, they're like, hey, you want to watch a movie? Let's watch Midnight Run.
Yep, that's
this
my
one
favorite
makes
movie.
me feel all good inside. Oh, my God. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I love that.
They had to yell, cut, we've got a real crime here in process. We're going to have to, arrest some kidnappers here. It must have been a bit chaotic on both sides. Because,
I would say so.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. All right, we have our 2 contestants for 2 truths and a lawsuit.
2 truths and a lawsuit. Man, that sounds like a romantic comedy, doesn't it? Let's do this. So, Zepp, real quick, explain how we're going to do this.
All right, lawsuit, just crazy lawsuits out there. So I will give you 3 examples, you being the contestant. 2 of them will be real lawsuits. 1 of them is fake. You tell us which one is fake. It's a little different, kind of like yes or BS. But you're going to get all 3 up front, and then you'll pick the fake one out for us.
All right, I like it. Candace, who is contestant number 1 for 2 truths and a lawsuit?
Gaius from St. Paul.
My man, Gaius. Good morning, brother.
Good morning.
It's good to have you back on the show. Are you ready for 2 truths and a lawsuit?
I'm ready for it.
Let's do it.
All right, Gaius. All right, now wait. I'm going to give you 3 headlines here, 3 lawsuits, and then when I'm done, you will tell us which one is not real. Here we go. First one. Florida man sues Dunkin' Donuts over injuries following toilet explosion. Mm-hmm. Next one. Kidnapper sues hostages after arrest, claiming they made a deal with them while they were tied up in their home. And the third lawsuit here, student sues after teacher woke him up in class.
Yes.
All right, so Florida man sues Dunkin' Donuts over injuries following toilet explosion. Kidnapper sues hostages after arrest, claiming they made a deal with him while they were tied up in the home. And student sues after teacher woke him up in class.
Oh, man. I was thinking 2, but I may be going with 3.
Tough decisions.
Okay, I'll go with number 2.
Number 2. Okay, well, the Florida man sues Dunkin' Donuts. It wasn't that long ago we did that story, right?
We talked about it. We sure did.
The explosion left the man covered in human feces, urine, and debris. That lawsuit is still pending. I think he's got a pretty good case
I'd say there's a strong likelihood of winning that one, yeah.
Right. And you said kidnapper sues hostages after arrest, claiming they made a deal with him while tied up in their home. You said that one wasn't real, but Gaius, that is in fact a real lawsuit. A man who held it, and none of these, this one isn't current. We're just, did some Googling here. A man who held a Kansas couple hostage in their home while fleeing from authorities is suing them, claiming they broke an oral contract made when he promised them money in exchange for hiding him from police. The couple has asked the judge to dismiss the suit.
No, we don't get the backstory. I get it. That's great.
Right. Yeah, not too much. And the student sues after teacher woke him up in class. Officials have been notified they are being sued by a student who was awakened in class by a teacher who made a loud noise. That isn't real. That just didn't happen. But it's so ludicrous. All right. Well, now what you're hoping for, this is kind of an odd game. You're hoping that this next person gets it wrong and it goes to a tiebreaker. So, Gaius, hang tight.
All right, Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Taylor from Eden Prairie.
Taylor, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so you see what we're doing here. You following how this game works, I'm assuming, right?
Yep, I'm picking up what you're laying down.
I like to hear it, Taylor. All right, this is for Twins tickets tonight, or if the runner-up, of course, that's Trilogy Saturday night. Good luck.
All right, Taylor, I'm going to give you all 3 headlines here. First, man sues himself for $300,000 after injuring himself with a boomerang.
Nice.
Next one, man sues because drinking beer does not make fantasies come true. And finally, man sues Michael Jordan for looking too much like him. So there are your three. I'm going to run them down again for you. Man sues himself for $300,000 after injuring himself with a boomerang. Man sues because drinking beer does not make fantasies come true. Or man sues Michael Jordan for looking too much like him. Which one is not real?
They're all just simply ridiculous.
That's right.
I think I will go with man sues himself.
For $300,000 after injuring himself with a boomerang? That's ridiculous. That is also false, but was reported in the Associated Press initially. They quickly did a retraction. The story is fictional. First appeared in a 1996 edition of Weekly World News.
Wow.
Known for publishing made-up claims. The name of the man who allegedly sued himself, Larry Ruttman of Owensboro, Kentucky, does not appear in county court records where the lawsuit would have been filed. He did not sue himself or win a settlement after injuring himself with a boomerang. Taylor, you win, but let me finish this up. Man sues because drinking beer does not make fantasies come true. Yeah. Richard Overton sued the brewing company Anheuser-Busch for false advertising. He claimed that his six-pack of Bud did not transport him to a tropical island with beautiful women, as seen in the company's advert.
But see, he just simply had the wrong dream. I mean, the wrong goal. You, trust me, you can set a proper goal, and it'll absolutely come true.
It can come true. And finally, Alan Heckard sued Michael Jordan for looking too much like him. And Nike, by the way. This happened in 2006. Heckard argued that he was weary of people pointing out his resemblance to Jordan, citing that it was causing him damage and complicating his life. He asked for a mere $832 million. That lawsuit was dismissed. And Taylor, you chose correctly. You've got yourself the Twins tickets tonight, the White Sox in town. Yes, has some wild concert tickets, a fantastic tribute show coming up this Saturday at the Medina.
That's great. Congratulations to both of you. Gaius, if you want to, really quick, if you want to bust out a song by either The Doors, Led Zeppelin, or Pink Floyd, we know you got those dulcet tones. You've sung on this show before.
Okay, here comes The Doors.
I knew he was ready for it.
You know that I would be untrue.
There it is.
You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher.
Yes.
Come on, baby, light my fire.
That boy, Gaius. That's what I want to hear.
On, baby,
Thank
light
you.
My fire.
Beautiful.
Try to set the night on
Here it comes.
fire.
There it goes.
Yeah.
Right on. Hey, I'm not trying to leave you out, Taylor. I mean, if you want to sing, go for it, but it's not required. You've already won your tickets. Have a great time at the Twins game. Have a great time Saturday night at Trilogy. Thank you both.
Thank you.
I mean, it's Medina. He might find himself on stage, They might say, is Gaius out here? Let's get him up here.
Yeah. That's the thing. You call this show every 6 months and sing. We're going to remember you. That's how that works.
I love it.
By the way, isn't that before the game? Wasn't that insane? The story about Midnight Run, the real life kidnapping broken up by the police by the movie police cars screaming by.
Yeah.
One of the other things I read about this movie, Robert De Niro being Robert De Niro in getting ready for his role as Jack Walsh, bounty hunter.
Yeah.
He went on several actual drug busts with teams of detectives. He got to know an L.A. homicide detective, and he was regularly checking in on the daily murder rate and going on cases because he wanted to sound like a real cop. He went to Chicago also to hang out with detectives there because his character had once been a Chicago cop.
Yeah.
And Charles Grodin in an interview talked about De Niro did all of this work, all this research. And the guy asked Grodin, what did you do to prepare for your part as the, as the accountant? He said, I called my business manager and I talked to him for a few minutes. I just simply asked him how a transfer of millions of embezzled dollars could technically be done. That was it.
Oh, Grodin. You miss him as an actor on the screen, don't you?
Oh, he's just
He
incredible.
didn't even do enough, I felt like he was kind of lazy. I would have liked to have seen more
so great
from his career.
As much as he's just that guy and everything. The other great Grodin performance as in a supporting role is the Heaven Can Wait, Warren Beatty.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, he's just the best. He's brilliant. You can tell he's this brilliant guy, but he has the greatest absent look on his face when he's in character.
Just
missing
dry,
the point constantly sometimes. That's
monotone.
incredible.
Oh yeah, no, one of the best. Here come 2 words for you: shut the F up.
Yeah.
I mean, those 2 personalities perfectly acted by 2 master actors.
Oh.
There is a documentary out there about Robert De Niro preparing for roles that he did not participate in. So take it with a grain of salt. But they talked about Backdraft, where he actually helped solve a pyromania psycho that was on the loose. Yeah, he got so into the role that he would go out and they would start doing the investigations, and he kept calling the detective up, and the detective thought, well, some of these leads, some of these ideas that he has are pretty good, and it led to an arrest of somebody that was running around New York City setting apartment buildings on fire.
Pretty sharp cookie, that De Niro. I think that's what we're learning. Charles Grodin, one last point on Midnight Run. But by the way, I'll talk about Midnight Run anytime. I mean, every scene has at least one moment that's just like shockingly funny to me. Yeah. I remember seeing that movie in the theater when it came out in 1988, and I went to see it and just. I loved it so much. Like, I didn't laugh a lot because I was laughing the whole movie, but I didn't want to miss the next line. I was like afraid to laugh out loud. I was just so enraptured right away. It's so well done. Grodin spends a lot of the movie in handcuffs. The whole time he's with De Niro. Permanent scarring because De Niro insisted they use real handcuffs. His wrists have scars to this day, always, throughout his life, because he was wearing. They had some rubber and plastic ones for wide shots, but De Niro was like, anytime that the cameras are up close, man, you gotta have the real ones on. And he was like,
constantly
okay,
grabbing him by those cuffs, by the chain, and giving him a yank.
Yep. Man, Grodin was the best. I knew he was no longer with us. It was 3 years ago, May of 21. Gosh, I thought it was like a year ago, man.
Right.
What a great run he had.
Yeah, no doubt. Certainly. And that movie. And I think of Dennis Farina, of course, who, played obviously the mob boss perfectly. But who was the actor that played the other bounty hunter? He was fantastic.
Beverly Hills Cop and Midnight Run.
Character actor for sure, but had a run there for a while. And I don't think even after Midnight Run you saw too much of him on the big screen movies. But, he was perfect for that role. Just that oafish bounty hunter foil.
So fantastic. Marvin, look. Farina, Sydney, have a sandwich, drink a ginger ale, do something. That stuff is all so great. Yeah. Oh, speaking of great, on the 92KQRS website, 92KQRS.com, we are still accepting votes for Minnesota's bestest. This poll ends tomorrow night at midnight, so you gotta get on there if you have yet to vote, or vote again. So many different things in here. We're trying to figure out the best, and we've had a ton of we've had way more people than last year, so that's pretty cool. The bestest food to dip in ranch. That is a category with which we should weigh in. Here are the 5 options. French fries. I don't know that I've ever put a French fry in ranch.
What?
Oh.
No, I just go ketchup and occasionally, yellow mustard.
What the heck?
Yellow mustard. I have mayo. My dad is a mayo guy, which is I noticed was a big thing over in Europe. They love their mayo with their fries. But ranch all the time with the fries.
Well, no, you know what? I see. Yeah, hot chicken. You get that, and there's ranch on the side, and you get fries. Yeah, I've done it. It's not something I look for, but yes. Okay, now I'm corrected. Pizza in ranch. Done it. I'm not proud of it, but yes, I do it on occasion.
What do you mean you're not proud of it? Why are you being so weird about ranch?
It's like when California Pizza Kitchen showed up all over the world and they were putting pineapple. I was like, no, never. And then I tried it. And I was like, that's actually pretty good.
The only time it ever annoyed me, and I do it all the time, I love it, but it did annoy me once. My buddy Eric will dip his pizza, the point of the pizza, in the ranch and then slurp it off, like suck it off and re-dip, which is his own ranch. It's just like, just bite it. You've got a whole piece of pizza. Then you can dip the next. Why now you're taking some of the cheese off? It's getting gross and spitty, and then you dip. Just bite the damn thing. It's not your finger. It's a piece of pizza. Okay, I'm over it.
All right, thanks. Wings, sure. Wings and ranch. That's peanut butter and jelly. That makes perfect sense. This one's weird. Filet mignon.
Oh, well, no, now you're getting into a tricky area here. Filet mignon doesn't need any help.
Yeah.
If it's you know what? If it's overcooked, go ahead. Dip it in some ranch.
And then cauliflower. Now, I'm going to assume this is like
random.
like buffalo cauliflower. You know, you get like in place of buffalo wings. I've had cauliflower baked in buffalo sauce, so it's like hot. That makes perfect sense. But just straight up cauliflower and ranch, then you could just put any veggie. But anyway, those options are on there. The whole thing is great. We've talked about this a bunch. Over the last 8 or 9 days. You got 1 day left. Go to 92kqrs.com and pick out the bestest of Minnesota for the year. We will be sharing results next week.
Yeah, and you can vote more than once. I had to go back a couple of times because I was really torn. I just sat there and kept staring, and then Ryder reminded me I could vote more than once, and I went, okay, so I'll vote for this time, and then I'll go back and ease my conscience by voting for this particular item the next time or business. So, yeah, vote it up. Have a good time. We're going to move along here. How many months till Christmas? 9? Something like that, about 9 months
Makes
we've
sense.
got here. Or no, 8 months. Anyway, what month is it? What day is it? What time is it? I'm telling Sydney and Taylor, if they're listening, you have that long to save up for this awesome new gift. It's going to set you back $10,000. It's a big one. I want one. It's crazy that this even exists on planet Earth, but it is available for purchase, and we're going to tell you all about it here before 9 o'clock. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. John Bon Jovi, you give love a bad name. Apparently, he gives documentaries a bad name. Oh, man. The Hulu 4-piece documentary series on Bon Jovi not getting the greatest reviews. It hits Hulu this weekend. Let's see. Our own Star Tribune. Bon Jovi documentary goes down in a blaze of boredom.
Oh, man.
Wow. It says this article starts off, by all accounts, John Bon Jovi has led a charmed life with supportive parents, early success, and a fantastic head of hair. That's an enviable history, but it makes for a fairly tedious documentary. Wow. Ouch.
Yeah. Isn't there some dirt there? He and Richie? Or is it just about, is it John Bon Jovi or is it about Bon Jovi?
They've been saying, well, Bon Jovi and the other guys in the band have been saying they all sat down and they were all told, no punches pulled, tell your side of it. It's all going to be there, all on the table. But I've read now several reviews saying, well, that's not exactly what happens at all. Richie Sambora is in the documentary. He does sit down. It's a brand new interview. But the key reasons for the rift remain a mystery. They kind of dance around what really went down.
Candace said it. That's what most people, Bon Jovi fans or just classic rock fans, want to get to the bottom of because, Bon Jovi didn't have a lot else going on. I mean, they had hit songs. They had some fantastic tours and all of that good stuff, the hits and everything. But it's not like Aerosmith, or the Beatles, or the Rolling Stones, one of those massive bands that had so much backstory you just couldn't wait to immerse yourself in it. Bon Jovi, I wouldn't have put them in my top 25 of documentaries I want to see on bands, except for that whole, what was the breakup? What is the rift? What's going on there? If you don't pay that off, then, what's the point?
It's a guy who married his high school sweetheart. He doesn't drink or do drugs. It's kind of like, Well, let's just follow around the CEO of Nabisco then. Okay.
Well, there was one headline I saw where he admitted that, I always haven't been a choir boy, or however he worded it. I always haven't been the best husband in my 30-plus year marriage. Well, okay, there you are with 9 out of 10 husbands probably that, whatever in marriages, things that come up. I didn't even read into it further because I thought it was a fairly benign. I'm like, okay, you've been married for over 30 years. You're a rock star. You're just a human being. It didn't go swimmingly. You're still together. Okay. All right.
Listen,
now I'm not watching.
Good guy. Promoters love him. People in the industry. He's, he returns calls. He's on time. He's very, very serious about his career.
Yeah.
My problem with John Bon Jovi has always been it's just one thing. Catchy songs, my God. And to the writer's point from the Star Tribune, great hair. I give anybody credit for maintaining a great head of hair for 4 decades. But the man was dating and then dumped Diane Lane. What the hell?
Yeah.
Here's the rules. Diane Lane dumps you. That's the rule. I don't care who you are.
It's a very simple rule, yeah.
I don't care who you are. You thank your creator on a daily basis you ever got to meet her, much less be in a relationship with her.
You know, there's that old line out there, that old crass line, behind every good-looking woman is a guy who's tired of nailing her. But we know better. It's funny because it is a joke. But yeah, when it comes to, I'm just trying to think, how much of a psycho would Diane Lane
Watch it.
I'm just saying. No, I'm hypothesizing, man. I got to be able to go there. I have to be able to wonder out loud, because she doesn't come off like that. There are no stories about Diane Lane in the Sun or the TMZ or anything like that where she, went totally psycho. I'm thinking of Harrison Ford's old girlfriend that I just saw in the headlines again. A little waifish blonde.
I've been on the team Diane Lane since I was in 9th grade, and I saw a little movie called A Little Romance. And to this day, if that movie's on, I'm watching. And yes, at the end of the movie, when the little French kid's chasing the limo, I will have tears in my eyes. Don't kid yourself.
I don't remember that movie. I don't think I've seen it. Maybe I'll have to go track it down. For me, it was Streets of Fire. Came out my senior year. Yeah, I saw it at a drive-in.
This is much earlier. She's 14 in this movie, maybe. And it's great. And it's by the way, co-stars a guy by the name of Laurence Olivier, or as I call him, Larry Oliver.
Is it one of those Lolita kind of deals?
No, God, no. She's got a boyfriend.
So you're not just talking about being attracted. You're enamored with her talent.
Oh no, it's amazing. Yeah, she looks cute, but she's not like hot. It's a 14, 15-year-old kid kind of movie, and I was 14 or 15. I was sitting there going, they don't come like that in my school.
What was that McNichols girl? I had a crush on her when I was a teenager. Christy McNichols. I had that goofy, tomboyish looking, all-American face. I was in love with that.
She played Buddy on Family, and then with Tatum O'Neal. What was the movie that two little devils, two virgins, there was a movie, something like that. What was that movie
Probably
called?
Saw it. I don't have the
you would have seen it.
Same brain in my head that you do. But Streets of Fire, I remember when that came out and seeing Diane Lane up on the big screen. She's all grown up now, and just the sex appeal, the rock star, the damsel in distress. So yeah, it was all working for me.
Little Darlings. That's what the movie was.
Little Darlings.
And this is why I said virgins, because this is what's on the poster. The bet is on. Whoever loses her virginity first wins.
Hello.
Can you imagine that movie coming out in 2024 about two teenage girls going to summer camp to lose their virginity? Man, the 80s were just on fire, weren't they?
Yeah,
oh my God.
It was open game. It was fair game.
Yeah. That was actually pretty restrained for the time.
No kidding.
And of course, the movie, which I do remember sneaking into, it was rated R. Me and Brooke Lawson were there as soon as we could figure out how to make it happen. And then, of course, whoever loses wins. But then there's lessons learned, and it's like I shouldn't have done it. It's one of those. But just the idea of Christy McNichol and Tatum O'Neal together was like, that's right up our alley.
Tatum O'Neal, another one. Bad News Bears. I'm sure there was a crush there.
Oh, heck yeah. What are you kidding? I mean, that's a time in my life when I still would have been excited by the sight of a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, that perfect age. But I don't think there's anything I would have wanted more when I was 13 years old than an honest-to-God U.S. military-grade flamethrower.
We used to remember we did it with the Aquanet. Anything that we could get our hands on that would throw fire. Yeah. I remember trying to be Gene Simmons and seared off my rather long hippie hair at the time because I was using Mom's Aquanet can but holding it off to the side of my mouth. So if you stood at the other profile looking at me, it looked like I was spitting fire, but I was really just burning off half my hair. Yeah. And then, of course, the old Aquanet. We ran through a couple of cans. Mom would come in and go, all right. I remember she'd buy like the 6-pack.
I remember Jeff Peacock busting out the Zippo and the WD-40 and just holding that flame, and then all of a sudden the flame just went right back into the can.
Yes.
And he got it out of his hand, but in the nick of time. I mean, almost blew his arm off.
Yeah.
But yeah, the flamethrower. I mean, the Tarantino film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. There's a big flamethrower scene there at the end.
Yes.
Spoiler alert: a lot of the Manson family doesn't come out on the right side of that one. But when I was watching that movie, I mean, in the theater, which I really enjoyed, but I remember so clearly going. I used to walk around. You used to play war when you were kids, Army, war, whatever you called it.
Yeah.
Moved to Kentucky. I was 10 years old. The first kid I met, Danny Jeffers, met him walking across the golf course. Who are you, Danny? Who are you, Steve? What grade are you in? 5th? I'm in 5th too. Do you want to play war? I mean, that was it. Suddenly, we both pick up sticks and we've got our M16s and we're fighting the Nazis. That's what you do. We're hiding behind the bunkers. We're just playing war. But I used to find I would get an extra long stick that was too tall to use as a walking stick, and then that would be my flamethrower. Because I was all about the flamethrowers that get. Just imagine how cool would that be.
That'd be very cool, unless, of course, it was real life and you were going into battle with a flamethrower. It'd be horrifying. However, it does capture the imagination. There's something about flamethrowers. One of Musk's dumb companies, and I think the company was called Dumb, wasn't it? I don't even know if it still exists anymore, but they came out with kind of a rinky-dink flamethrower, and I know someone in Minnesota who purchased one, and I was at the backyard when they pulled it out. Very lame. I'd go with the can of Aquanet or WD-40 instead, but this new one that we're leading into. This is the thing. This is the one right here, baby.
It's a company called, interestingly enough, Throw Flame. See, they just reversed the words there.
That's clever.
Pretty clever. Throw Flame. They now have a flamethrower that you can buy for $9,400, and it's not the old run-of-the-mill flamethrower. It is a robot dog with a flamethrower attached to its head.
What?
I dreamt this, and then it came to life.
Exactly. It's like you drank a 6-pack of Bud, and your dreams came true.
My fantasy came true.
That's exactly right. It's a robot dog. Again, just picture what you imagine a robot dog to look like. It looks just like that, with a flamethrower attached to its head. You can operate it over Wi-Fi or Bluetooth with a remote control, and it shoots flames up to 30 feet. And oh, by the way, Throw Flame's website says legal in 50 of the United States.
Right on.
50. You do need a permit in California and Maryland.
Okay.
Well, how many lists are there of 2 states sharing anything in common, and it's California and Maryland?
Yeah.
Only the flamethrower permit. That's probably the only one.
Here's what worries me. $9,400. Just don't have it laying around, not scratch. No one I know has the kind of money that or would spend that kind of money on me. And I don't know if I take out a small loan or something, but if I start a Kickstarter, maybe something on the KQ Facebook page. But because this is going to be outlawed before the 4th of July. Yeah, real fast. Yeah, a lot of things are going to happen. I cannot wait to get my robot dog flamethrower and take it out to the dog park.
I used to have a robot dog in the 90s. There was like a 90s one called Poochie, but it didn't really do anything because it was the 90s. It would just like run itself into the wall.
Well, okay. Well, Poochie was a good idea, but instead of running yourself into the wall, why don't you burn the wall down with a throw flame? I forgot to say the name of this animal, the Terminator.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, the Terminator. They have a commercial, but there's no dialogue, so you've got to look it up. I just looked it up on YouTube. Just Terminator, you punch that in, it'll come right up. By the way, they're not pushing the guard dog angle at all, which just immediately what jumps to my mind. I'm actually going to leave my door wide open and put something valuable in the doorway and wait for someone to come try and take it before we sick the Terminator on them. But no, I love on their website how they try to justify this with ice and snow removal. Clearing weeds. Be careful. I think we're already under a red alert here in the state of Minnesota.
I tell you what, man.
Pyrotechnics are just entertainment. Yeah, it's just, this is the pet I've been waiting for.
A robot dog flamethrower. I mean, seriously, this is awesome. These are like my childhood dreams. They're one by one. They're all coming true.
Yes, right. And it is. I mean, 30-foot flame. That's just what everybody knows how long 30 feet is. That's whipping some flame out there, boys and girls.
That's a first down. That's first down where I come from.
The first backyard blowout we have with the beer going and the shots. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, this is good. This isn't going to make it very far. There are going to be lawsuits, and this thing's going to be yanked. Get your Terminator now, $9,400.
There's a Black Mirror episode from a few seasons back that has these robot dogs that look this. If you've ever seen that one, that it's a really. It's called Metalhead, the episode, and it's very bleak. It's one of the more difficult Black Mirrors to get through, but the robot dog in that Metalhead, I mean, that's exactly what this thing looks like. That, Black Mirror consistently over the years, like the original the creator of the show said, we're writing a show about the very near future. Like, not the distant future. It's not Buck Rogers. This is the stuff that's right around the corner, and so many of those things have come true. And now I'm looking at this. Now I'm looking at this flame-throwing dog and going, "Oh my God!" The people of Black Mirror really did know everything that was going down. Right around the corner. It's fantastic. Would you name your Terminator? I mean, would you give the quadruped robot dog flamethrower a name beyond Thermidor? I mean, you got to give it a cool, like, Knuckles or Spike.
Yeah, I don't know. The Torch. Just remember that Torch. Good old Torch. Come here, Torch. Light them up, baby.
That is a really good one. Anybody listening, if you find yourselves in possession of a Terminator, let us know.
I'll bring a box of beer over.
Yeah,
we'll bring some dogs. I mean, some hot dogs, rather. What else will we bring over?
The more you drink, the more you have to remember 35 feet. Give it a few extra feet. Just with every passing beer, give it a little bit more of a cushion between you and the Terminator, because nothing says I'm 9 beers in more than going, I'll just singe them a little. This will be fun.
Yeah. I think I'll call my buddy Lance, firefighter over in St. Paul, see if I can't get one of those coats.
Yeah.
Maybe one of those hats with the face shield, just in case,
in case. Hey, we were talking a minute ago on the show about the KQRS website. 92KQRS.com has the bestest in Minnesota poll going on. It ends tomorrow night. We haven't discussed bestest date in history. I'm going to see if you guys know what these dates are. Are you ready?
All right.
The first one on the show, the first one on the list, May 11th, 1858. Candace, what do you think that is?
1858.
Yep.
Some sort of war.
Okay.
Well, a couple of years before the Civil War. I was kind of thinking Civil War-ish. May
11th, 1858.
Minnesota became a state.
There you go.
Woo! I just remember that because there's this cool brewery in St. Paul, and I can't think of the name now. But they have been around as long as that.
They've been around as long as that. That's impressive. Okay, Candace, for 1 million extra points, who was the president that approved the bill by Congress on May 11th, 1858 for Minnesota statehood?
The president?
This is the president who preceded Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, God. Jackson.
Jackson.
Oh, wasn't he the dandy president? Didn't they call him? He was a bachelor, I recall.
James
I do know who it
Buchanan.
is. Mr. Buchanan, yes.
You know
it. No.
Okay, next date, August 1st, 1978. Is that the best day in Minnesota history? What happened on August 1st, 1978? Anyone know?
I got nothing for you.
I Googled it, and this is what came up, so this has to be it. On this day, August 1st, 1978, Metropolitan Stadium, 65,000 people packed the stadium for the Hotel California tour.
Oh, that's right. Zeppelin would have been 77, and that was at the Met.
The Eagles brought their Hotel California tour to Minnesota. The opening bands, Pablo Cruz and Steve Miller.
Oh, wow. That's not bad. Pablo Cruz in the day. I do give Maria some grief because she has the Pablo Cruz vinyl, the one where they're just all shirtless on the cover, and it's
sure.
I don't know. They never did much for me. Steve Miller opening for the Eagles, not bad.
What you gonna do when she says goodbye? Yeah, Pablo Cruz had a hot minute there. Okay, next date, November 11th, 1981.
November 11th, 1981.
Mall America
81
was built.
No. The only thing I could come up with, and it
Metrodome?
makes sense. Nope. The Stars, the North Stars, beat the Winnipeg Jets 15-2.
Well, that's noteworthy, I guess.
It seems noteworthy to me.
Yeah, I think I know the Metrodome. Didn't the Metrodome come into and they inflate that bad boy in 1981? But that's not it, huh?
I guess not.
Yeah, I guess not. All right.
Okay, so there's two. Oh, we're going to give you three more. October 26th, 1991.
Twins.
Yeah, damn it.
Yeah.
Date that lives in infamy for me. August 1st, 2023.
Oh, that's the most difficult one of all. Yeah, was weed legalized?
Listen to the two of you. You're like, I don't know. Weed legal. You're both on it like a dog on a bone. Weed was legal.
No, well, Candace led me to that one. I probably wouldn't have figured it out myself. But yeah, that August one, that's when it officially became legal. You can't buy it, blah, 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 dragging their heels. What the hell are they doing over there?
And then the final one, it just says April 25th because it's not too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket. I don't know what that means.
Tomorrow.
It's a little cocky. Yeah, we've had some. I remember May 1st getting some snow one year. That was an anomaly. That's not usually happening. But April 25th, you feel like you've turned the corner.
Yeah.
You're willing to get cocky, I guess.
Sure. So that's your bestest date to vote for. Again, 92kqrs.com. A lot of great things you want to vote on. And you got till midnight tomorrow night to do just that.
I love it. I was looking at this meme this morning. Now I'm trying to find it. We should get into this. Have you seen that, I don't know, ridiculous blank would be a beautiful name for a baby girl meme that's going viral right now?
No.
Oh, yeah, we got to get into this. We'll round it up for you guys, and we'll lay it on everybody here at about 9:25. It's just a meme that's really going viral. Number one viral meme today. Blank would be a beautiful name for a baby girl. If you've got one to contribute, 651-989-ROCK. That's the talk and text line. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, April the 24th. Good morning. Hey, man, Minnesota Timberwolves just brought out a stick of hickory upside the Phoenix Suns last night. Kicked their sun-bleached asses back to the desert, up 2-0 in the series. They say in playoffs, both hockey and basketball, a series doesn't start until the road team wins.
Yeah.
This series has started, and it started emphatically. Now, the home team won both, but at the second half last night, I stayed up past my bedtime because I couldn't turn the game off. Boy, that body language on the Suns, that told you everything you need to know. They realized we're out of answers. And this was a game the Timberwolves won where Ant-Man was hardly there in the first half. And they came
foul trouble.
Yeah, they came out strong in the second. They just beat them down. I think the Timberwolves are going to advance to this. I don't think they're going to sweep them. You still have Kevin Durant, Booker, Beal.
Yeah.
They got some scores. But I feel very good about the Wolves' chances about advancing those. So well done, gentlemen. Congrats. That's a big, big win for a young team.
A playoff ball. You got to love it. And the Twins are streaking right now. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait a second. I mean, never mind. Not so much.
Not so much. It's coming around.
Yeah, it's coming. It's a long season, baby. And you know what? They've had some habits of coming out really strong the first half, and then you watch it just start to, peel away, fall apart, crumble, if you will, in the second half of the season. So maybe they'll reverse it this year and just kind of keep picking up momentum, get that pitching figured out, and get the bats and the pitching working on the same day, man. But they've had some real clunkers. Thankfully, the White Sox make everything better.
Yeah.
If you're the other team.
An awful lot of people very excited about tomorrow night. That would be the National Football League draft. Oh, baby.
Look at it. So the Vikes, they need some help on the interior of both the offense and defensive line. Mm-hmm. The tackles are looking pretty good. But on the inside of the line there for the offense and the defensive side of the ball could use some help. A cornerback would be a real high market. But, of course, everyone is, if you're going to keep Justin Jefferson now, there are so many rumors flying around about a draft day trade involving Justin Jefferson that would involve obviously multiple number one picks and number two picks.
I would throw my hands up and say harumph if they did that.
I would, and I would not believe one of these rumors at all until I saw it happen on draft day. But it would be one of those things where you would load up. That would be a rebuilding process over the next couple of years. Yeah, you could put some real special potential players on a football team because if you're not going to get a quarterback, if you're not going to be able to trade up into that top 4, 5 somewhere and get yourself a quarterback, they say you're not going to keep Justin Jefferson. So you're caught between a rock and a hard place. Yeah. Can they make that difficult trade to get even up to maybe a number 3 pick and a Drake May? Is
11th pick right now. I've seen several mock drafts, the so-called experts. A lot of people thinking Bo Nix, the Oregon quarterback, will still be around.
Nix, by the way. I like him a lot. He's not being talked about. I mean, he's been bumped down to, probably past Penix or whatever, maybe certainly a top 10 quarterback. But I watched a couple of Oregon games, and I've watched some, film. No, just some of the draft crap on him or whatever. Mm-hmm. Why do I keep liking this guy so much as maybe that quarterback that outperforms some of the other quarterbacks in this draft?
Well, anyway, for me, spring is always a great time of year. You've got the playoffs in both hockey and basketball. You got the draft. Baseball's just getting started. I'm feeling pretty good. And then, of course, I'm a soccer jerk, too. So I got MLS. I got my Arsenal sitting on top of the Premier League table. Dicey proposition to run it out and win, but it's all good.
That started here. I mean, is it the United? Is that ours?
Minnesota
the
United.
Aurora.
Yeah.
I know the women and the Man United and Aurora. Has that professional season started here yet? I don't know. I know they sell it out all the time over there.
Yeah, it has started.
Alliance or something stadium.
Allianz. It has started. Yeah, Minnesota.
Allianz, potato, tomato.
Minnesota's sitting on a 4-2-2 record after 8. They're in 5th place in the West. A solid start. They look good. My Nashville SC, on the other hand, just sucking wind right now. In second to last place in the East.
You're in the North, Frosty Lands now, man. Go ahead, adopt Minnesota soccer. It's okay. But selling out, didn't I hear the Aurora, the women's professional team, sold out every home game last year? I mean, you've got to pay some attention to it.
That makes sense to me. Yeah, it sounds about right. But I'm like I say, long time. Like the Men in Blazers say, I'm one of those kids. Soccer, the sport of the future since 1972.
I love to give soccer geeks like yourself a hard time.
We deserve it. We're
I
soccer.
know.
I love soccer, and I can't stand soccer jerks. They're terrible.
But every damn friend that I have that have kids of age are all playing soccer. You can't drive past a soccer field any weekday, let alone weekend, and it's completely packed. So it's on. It's happening. I'm glad the young boys and girls here in the state of Minnesota have some professional soccer to enjoy.
More kids play soccer in this country. More kids under the age of 12 play soccer than any other sport by a long margin. And that's been that way for a long time. But what really changed over the last 15 years, what really brought soccer to the fore, made it the 5th major sport. It's not going to replace hockey or baseball, but it's just the 5th one. It's in that list now. 2 things. One, getting the English Premier League games carried live on network television here. I mean, just people seeing the game played at the highest level on a regular basis, not just during the World Cup. But the biggest single swing vote, if you will, for soccer's popularity was the FIFA game on the EA Sports video game. The soccer video games are so much better than basketball video games. It's right up there with Madden as far as just great games and the graphics. And then the kids, like my son, got to know all the players from all around the world through playing the video game. I played Sega Hockey back in the 90s, and I knew every roster in the NHL because I played a video game, not because I was watching hockey games. Yeah. And the same thing happened, but on a much greater scale across America the last 15 years with the FIFA game itself. And I mean, that seriously, it was a superior game to most of the other ones. And you got to know the players, and and now here we are, and that's where it's going. So it's again, and like I said, I that was the first sport I played since the early 70s. I've been soccer geek, soccer jerk, soccer asshole, whatever you want to call them. But when I see American soccer fans and they are singing songs, but with a fake English accent, I just want to punch them in the face. Like, stop it. When they, the scarves and they put them over their heads, okay, that's fine.
Right.
But stop with but if you throw on the fake British accent to sing your team song, just leave the stadium.
No. We got to come up with our own thing, man. Our own angle on it, our own twist, and make it our own, Throw in some long O's in there. Give it a Minnesota kind of thing. I don't know what it would be, but get a little polka going. Let's get some at the stadium or whatever. But like I said, I have so many people that, like myself, that grew up going, soccer. Of course, every third world country fill up a sock with a bag of with leaves and kick it around. That kind of, you make the usual jokes. But now, because everybody's kid plays it, you see guys going, well, it's not so bad. My daughter's a striker and she's starting for a diner or whatever. And so we're being pulled into it. Sure. And the kids don't seem to give a rat's ass if we care or not.
Well, think about it. Think about if you have a school district and your option is, okay, we've got every school needs to have a team. Soccer, we need 1 ball and 2 goalposts and they can play. Yeah. Or football, we need 40 helmets, 40 sets of pads, 40 knee pads, 40 shin guards, 40 you just do the numbers and you're like, this is the cheapest sport in the world to possibly play. Let's do that.
Hockey
has a lot to do. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Which is, by the way, year round. Yeah. And the kids are going off to Canada for camps in the summer. And you talk to a hockey family, and you basically just go to prison. You're in hockey prison as a parent for a very long time. That's all you're doing on your free time. Not to mention competition dance. I just like that there's another outlet. You've got 600 kids in some of these classes in school, and how many make the football team? How many get out, make the baseball and the hockey teams and this sort of thing? So it's another avenue to get out and be active and play some sports, be competitive.
In the early 80s, when I was playing high school soccer in Kentucky, on a team that was the only team within the closest game we ever had was 55 miles away. We were the only soccer team in Western Kentucky, so we had to go to Nashville, Tennessee, or Evansville, Indiana. Those were the closest 2 towns. 55 or 90 miles was as close as we could get for years. And so, but then every year there would be another team in the state. There were more and more public high schools starting to play soccer. And what we noticed every year was, you know who plays soccer in Kentucky? The guys who got cut from the football team. They have no idea how to play soccer, but man, they really want to knock you down. And we used to go out there and we're playing like soccer. And it's like, okay, just the late hits. You don't know what a late hit is until you play some guy who's pissed off he got cut from the varsity football. And the coach just said, play soccer. And he's like, I'll kill somebody. That's what we were going up against on a very regular basis. Pretty brutal indeed. Zepp, I almost forgot. You were mentioning this meme you saw this morning.
It had me chuckling. I was on social media. What was I on? X, whatever the hell they're calling it this morning. Mm-hmm. And they always have what's going viral. So you take a peek. You want to be in the know. Get your listeners in the know. So I'm like, what is this meme that's blank, blank, blank? What is it? Blank would be a beautiful name for a baby girl. So I take the clickbait and I click on it and I ended up chuckling my way through it, then coming up with a couple of my own.
Okay, blank would be, so they're putting in, I see. Number 1 on the list, Activia would be a beautiful name for a baby girl. Isn't that the yogurt that Jamie Lee Curtis hawks?
Mm-hmm. Is that
it's
it?
Like good for constipation or something?
I thought it was the name of the soccer stadium.
That's exactly what it is. Ramen would be a beautiful name for a baby girl.
I like that. If I didn't eat so much ramen, that one's just so, I'm still hooked on that cheap ass ramen. I can't seem to shake that from my diet, but ramen, I like it. It flows.
It's hard to mess up ramen. That's the key. It's hard to mess it up. It's hard to be too stoned to get that right.
Yep, you're absolutely right. There isn't any. You can overcook it. You can undercook it. Still very edible. Yeah. Simple.
Tilapia would be a beautiful name for a baby girl. Wow.
I like that's exotic. Tilapia.
Can you imagine? I can. Velveeta gets a run.
That'd be the one I'd use. Yeah, that's easily the worst thing that I put into my body. Still to this day, I don't even argue with anyone that there's any nutritional value. I did lose a mac and cheese cook-off contest to some St. Paul firefighters. Also lost the chili cook-off, but you expect to lose that. But I thought mac and cheese, I got this. I was disqualified for using Velveeta because it's not real cheese. Yeah, I created a scene.
We were a Velveeta family. It's funny because when you have Velveeta, you think about the cheese slicer, that little kitchen utensil.
You gotta have that.
That only works on Velveeta. There's no other cheese that it doesn't break because any other cheese.
And you have to have it because you can't use a knife on Velveeta.
Exactly. So you get the perfect slices, grilled cheeses all the time. I probably went 25 years without tasting Velveeta.
Good for you.
And at some point in my adult life, though, I saw some on it. There was like a little cheese and cracker thing, but it was Velveeta. And I was like, I haven't had that since I was probably 15. And I put some on a Triscuit, and I was died and gone to heaven. I was like, oh my God.
It's just goo.
Just goo. And it's 1977 all over again.
Yeah.
I am really excited about this new band called Blondie. Oh my God. Just put Velveeta in my mouth, and it's like an acid trip right back to my childhood.
Velveeta, the acid trip of cheese. Yeah,
that's what it was, man.
Yeah.
What other great names would be good for girls?
Marshmallow is nice. I like that one. What about alimony?
That's pretty good.
Sometimes
alimony.
Be involved there.
All the money. Give me all the money.
All the money.
Agony would be agony. Wow.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to do that. These are not names, by the way, you want to use for your little baby girl, but I'm sure some of these will get used. Ponderosa. Well, it's got a ring to it.
Here's a good one. Totality.
That's very... that
very
one
timely.
has already been used. I guarantee you that one's already been registered because of the big eclipse. Totality being thrown around. Not going to be that word's not going to come back around for another 20 years? Did they say or something like that? 40 or
2045, something like that.
Right.
2048. I told Candace this story yesterday. I was in El Paso, Texas, 1993, at my friend's mom's house on tour. Long story short, his sister's there. She's a single mom, and she's got this adorable little toddler, and the little girl's name was Bailey. And I said, so cute. What a lovely daughter. I said, where'd the name Bailey come from? And she looked at me and said, I was hammered on Bailey's when I got pregnant.
Well, go with what and it still works, though.
Wow.
How do you get hammered on Bailey's?
I don't know. I didn't want to know.
You just got to, keep pounding it. It's in there. You'd be surprised, Have you ever just drank straight Bailey's?
I guess not.
It will get you there. Yeah, it'll get you there.
And apparently it's wonderful for fertilization.
Because
that did the job.
That's actually what I meant by it'll get you there. No, I mean, it sets the mood and will finish the mood as well. But yeah, Bailey's, I don't know what the alcohol content is in that, but I've there for a while was into just Bailey's on a rock. Just throw one rock in there. Give me some Baileys and I just sip it. It's like a dessert as I'm sitting there binge watching whatever.
Yeah.
And then you'd get up and to go take the leak and there'd be a stumble or two in there. I'd get a good buzz going. And it's better than naming your kid Budweiser, I guess.
I guess. I'm trying to think the last time I had... See, I feel like I've had a Bailey's on the rocks myself for some reason. Like, what in the world was happening in my life where someone offered me that and I said, sure.
Yeah, I know. It gets a little... thick in the mouth, there.
It's kind of nutty. I'm trying to think of what it tastes like. It's creamy, but a little nut over something. I don't know.
It gets the job done. Oh, yeah, it's good stuff. There is it's out here. It's in a few select liquor stores. It's out of Montana. Discovered it while I was in Montana. Willie's Distillery, and it is huckleberry cream liqueur, and that'll change your life.
Bailey's Irish Cream, for the record, Candace, declared alcohol content 17% by volume.
All right, more than a glass of wine.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't think you do.
You're going to turn into a Bailey's. You're going to have Bailey's on your breath before you know it.
I Googled Bailey's, and sometimes it'll offer you questions like that you might want to search. One of them is, can I drink 10-year-old Baileys? I thought it said, can a 10-year-old drink Baileys?
Well, I thought we actually had a baby on the talk and text line right now.
Candace, who we got?
Candace just sent us a message, baby caller. I'm like, oh, Google.
Chris from Prior Lake.
Chris, good morning. What do you got for us?
Morning, everybody. How are you?
We're fantastic.
Yeah, great,
now that you're here, Chris. We're doing great.
Hang on. Grab my speaker. Yeah, quite a long time ago, one of our coworker ladies had a baby, named it Brianna. And we thought, oh, what a pretty name. Where'd you get that? She said, oh, from that Fleetwood Mac song. And nobody had the guts to tell her. So for 8 years, we recognized her daughter as Brianna, which is supposed to be Rhiannon. So I just thought that was a funny story.
Oh, that's fantastic. Imagine when she finally figured it out.
Let's hope she hasn't.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you for
Thanks,
that.
Chris.
That's awesome. He wants to get off the phone because he knows, that's going to get back to Brianna's
Chris, did you
mom.
call up? Yeah, right, exactly.
Get back to Brianna's mom. Oh, yeah. You called the KQ Morning Show and told them? Oh, that's rough. I have a buddy of mine, his mom's name, a lovely Welsh gal named Beryl, Beryl, Beryl. And she was born in the 40s. And as was the custom at the time in a small Welsh village, when the woman went into labor, the man went to the pub. So the midwife comes to the home.
Old school, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They call the ladies.
Listen, he's Welsh. He's probably drunk in the first place. You don't want him hanging around the hospital. Get him out of here.
It's a factory town, factories and mines. That's it. And so the mom's in labor. The women from the neighborhood all come to help with the midwife and the doctor, I guess, or whoever's there. The men all go to the pub and await word. And so then after a while, a messenger is sent to the pub, and they go to the dad and they say, it's a little girl, and your wife says her name is going to be Meryl. And he says, I'll go register right now. And he goes to City Hall to register the new baby's birth. And he gets there and he goes, what did she say the name was? I think she said Beryl. And he wrote in, instead of Meryl, he wrote Beryl. And that once it was in the books, it was in the books. And so this woman went through a hard labor, delivered her baby girl, only to have her husband misspell the child's name for life.
That's where the process breaks down. You've got to know well enough that if you're sending the old man down to the bar and he's going to schweel it up, you don't let him fill out the baby certificate.
That's exactly right.
Or if you're the nurse and he says Beryl, you go, you know what, let's just go ahead and leave this one blank. We'll circle back to this once mom's involved in the process or you've had a bite to eat or a quick nap.
You drink enough Baileys, and then Meryl becomes Beryl, and then Beryl becomes Bailey, and then we're all right back where we started. Let's look back on this day in 1983. The Atlanta Hawks were playing the Boston Celtics in the first round of the NBA playoffs, and Tree Rollins, the 7-foot center for Atlanta, and Danny Ainge, the little pesky douchebag guard for the Boston Celtics, of all people, got into a big fight. Danny Ainge called Tree Rollins a sissy in the middle of this, and Ainge finally ran up and tackled him. A bench-clearing brawl ensued, and while they were scuffling on the floor, Tree Rollins bit Danny Ainge's middle finger right down to the bone.
Ouch.
It's the only time in my life I ever thought, man, I'd love to be Tree Rollins right now trying to kill Danny Ainge. Ainge was a great player. He was a good front office guy. I hated him from the minute I first saw him play for BYU. So I just remember thinking, you go, Tree. You kick Danny Ainge's ass. Anybody who wasn't a Celtics fan hated Danny Ainge. He was Christian Laettner before Christian Laettner was Christian Laettner.
He was, for sure.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.